Hey, welcome to episode 23 of Red River Podcast. Today is going to be a very, very special episode. Very special Halloween episode.
Very Langan Halloween.
Yeah, very Langan Halloween. Today we're at Brian Langan's house in Norway. There's snow outside already.
A lot of corpse paint.
Of corpse paint.
We're keeping warm with the burning church outside. So... In between, we'll just go out and smoke cigarettes there. So
It's got a freezer full of brains.
yeah, we're gonna
Keep
do
it real.
today. We're gonna do like a little round table, just all centered around like horror and the movies that we are going to discuss are obviously all going to be horror based. And today we have a very special, very very special personality in the house.
Hard to get. Hard to book. A hard booking.
I had to cancel a double feature, Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2, for this.
He's such a poser that he'd rather not be at Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He would rather be here instead of watching two horror movies.
I wanted to boost your numbers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
this is sweeps week, the fall.
You know him. You may have no idea how to pronounce his last name because
I don't.
Yeah. So today, Anthony Venticinque.
Wow.
Damn, for real? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it means 25 in a time.
25. That's what we call him. 25, aka the Watch.
So much I've learned.
It's not because I'm a quarter of everyone's height.
Yeah. So, but anyway, welcome. Thank you for doing this. Yeah. Thank you for coming into our show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm just going to shoot some like rapid fire questions to everyone. And then from there, we'll just take it. I know that we all are huge horror fans, obviously. We've said that many a time on all the other episodes. But, like as usual, once again, the SoundClouds, the iTunes, all that other stuff. If you can give us a follow on iTunes, review, share it if you like it and all that other good stuff. So, shout out to Brian's son, Aiden in the back.
Yeah,
definitely. So, we're going to talk to him soon. So, all right. So now that we're all here, I want to ask you individually, how did you guys get into horror? Like you, Anthony, first. Like, what was like your first horror memory that obviously at the age of 82 right now, that it's still definitely.
Can you remember?
82 years young. Yeah. I went to the very
saw
first
Lon Chaney,
screening
Phantom
of
of the Opera.
Nosferatu.
Pictures cost a nickel back then.
A wooden nickel. Nickels had bees on them.
Do you remember your first horror memory?
Yeah. My sister was really into horror. She was a few years older than me. I remember watching the first Friday the 13th. I think it must have been someone's VHS or cable, and the original Halloween. And that was when I wasn't too scared of the movies yet. And I would kind of watch them. And then I remember watching The Shining when I was real little with her. And the only part that scared me in The Shining, because I was so young, that's more psychological than anything, was when that chick turned ugly. And she starts making out, and it's like, I'm going to get whatever.
Yeah.
Like that part used to scare the shit out of me. Other than that, I could watch that whole movie. It didn't bother me.
Right.
Then one day I turned the corner and became a giant pussy.
Yeah.
And couldn't watch horror anymore. Like,
what? How old?
Well, those were, it had to be, the Friday the 13th was 1980 when it came out. So
what do you think made you turn?
I don't know. I just was a giant wimp. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Like I just, kids get scared of shit.
Was it just getting too real for you, I guess?
No, I wish it was real. I was like, I wish someone would kill me.
Yeah. Yeah, we have listeners that might,
do you have listeners?
Yeah. 3 people that we just shouted at.
Mike Malamo.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what made me change, but when you're a little kid, certain things just scare you, and I just stopped. I just couldn't watch anything anymore. I was able to watch like Jaws, but even that would scare me. Yeah. That made me. I used to be so afraid of Jaws, I couldn't go in my pool by myself.
Yeah,
I'd be afraid of that.
You thought there'd be a shark in there?
Yeah.
I
would fucking get out. I would go.
You weren't the most logical of people, I guess.
Hey, it's fear's irrational.
Yeah, that's true.
That's pretty irrational.
Yeah.
Even though I was like, I know I couldn't. I would be scared shitless.
Absolutely.
So then one day, then I started getting into the metal. And the metal and horror kind of went hard,
especially back then.
Yeah,
I don't know about today, but I mean back then. Like,
today, no.
Yeah,
it's probably this is like 87-ish.
Yeah.
So I started getting metal. I was like, I got to stop being a fucking pussy. So maybe around 89, I was like, I'm going to watch horror movies. I got to start doing it. I just got to get over
Shocker came out, that soundtrack, and you were just like...
So I went to because I used to be so afraid I couldn't watch the commercials for Friday 13th. Like Jason would scare the fuck out of me. And I had my grandfather had a house upstate, an hour and a half away, but it was in the woods. So that was like every summer those movies were coming out.
Yeah.
So it was always a new one coming out, and my cousins and my sister would like try to scare me all the time. So then one day I came home from that house upstate with my brother, and Jason Lives was on Friday 13th 6.
Best one.
And I was like, I'm gonna watch this, and I watched it, and I loved it. And that night, I was so scared, I couldn't take it, and I got over that. I lived through the night, and that was it. and then the rest was history. Then I started watching everything.
Then you're in.
And I started watching. It was mostly the big ones: Nightmare,
the
Friday,
big four
franchises,
the big four.
Yeah, it was always those. And then the Hellraiser came out, and I was really into Clive Barker. I used to read all his books, and then it just escalated.
And then from there. Awesome. So Langan, I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you remember like your first like horror memories?
Yeah, I think I mentioned on the show before. My dad had the 7-Eleven. They briefly experimented with renting.
Sam's favorite store, 7-Eleven.
Renting
Shout
movies.
out.
Yeah, I love 7-Eleven stuff. But they rented movies. It was a very brief experiment. And VHS
Must be brief.
tapes.
I don't remember that at all.
Because it was horrible. Like, people would rent movies, and I figured, I'm not bringing it back. My dad would, like, have to go to their house.
Yeah.
And, like, yo, where's my money? Where's my tape? It was ridiculous. So it must have lasted, like...
That sounds like the
if
worst
it lasted
job
a year,
function.
That would be stretching it. But my dad, in the summertime, no one was around to watch me, so I don't remember how old I was. So he'd bring me to work with him at 7-Eleven. I'd work for a little bit, get an allowance, and then I'd sit in his office with the black and white TV and all they had were like the cheapest, they weren't getting major features then. Because remember, VHS tapes were like expensive to be purchased.
It was $90 to buy a VHS tape.
So it was Frankenhooker, it was Dawn of the Dead, I Spit on Your Grave, all these movies. And I would just watch one after another.
So you went
Frankenhooker, that's like, that seems too old for you.
Frankenhooker?
That's like 90, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's like 89.
So I feel like it'd be too...
Okay, maybe not Frankenhooker. All the old Grindhouse ones. That's all they had.
Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking of? Angel, maybe. I know it's not it's a hooker, but it's not a Frankenhooker. But Angel and Avenging Angel, whatever the hell. But anyway, Porky's, all that shit. So that's all I watched. Dawn of the Dead was the first one, and I was hooked.
What do you think, like, just made you gravitate towards that? Like, was it like? Because for me, it's kind of like controlled chaos. It's like riding a roller coaster. You're like observing something that, for the most part, is like a murder.
Yeah.
But from a safe distance, and you're just looking, and it just gives you that thrill, and then you're like, all right, this is just a movie.
That's why, like, nowadays when people are like, "Oh, was that movie scary?" I'm like, nothing's. Like the news,
that is the biggest.
The evening news is frightening.
Listen,
to
if
me.
you're listening to this, let me just talk for a minute here. If you're listening to this,
preach.
Let me speak. Let me speak upon this. If you're fucking like, I don't know, younger than 13, fine. But if you're older than 13, if you're asking me if a movie's scary and you're not like, slow and something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, cancer scary, not paying your bills is scary. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff, like
making the mortgage, that stuff keeps me up at night.
Exactly, losing your job.
You know what I'm saying? A doll.
Yeah, but I see it all the time on the horror nerds, and they're just like, this movie wasn't even scary, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking
like a little
about?
Child, but
but I have to be nice.
The same way as you, heavy metal horror, you get interested in the darker stuff. You want to see the darker stuff. You embrace the dark stuff.
Then I got into Faces of Death. I used to watch all that morbid. I was like super morbid, and I would try to watch everything that was fucked up.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
All
right. Well,
when you thought it was real.
Now they're saying a lot of that stuff isn't real.
Almost all of it wasn't real.
Yeah, it was a lot of it was recreated.
The monkey wasn't real. The electric chair wasn't real. That alligator thing, I don't think was real. I don't think any of it was.
No, some of it was.
No, there was
like
the
the gunshot. Yeah.
The stuff when they film in like all those Mondo films where they went to like Africa and they're burning like an effigy and a guy, that shit is just legit.
Yeah.
Not geo footage, but most of it's horse shit. But
Horseshit.
Back then, I was probably 14 when I watched them, and I was like,
That was like the
This is
test.
great.
back
I would
then.
tell
Like,
you
have
this.
You seen Faces of Death?
I'd watch them all. Then there was one called Inhumanities. It was very along the same line, but that one had more animal stuff in it, and that bothered me. Like that, I couldn't watch it.
That's why I can't watch Cannibal Holocaust. I just can't get down with it.
Well, I went to a Q&A for Cannibal Holocaust, and it was out in
might
the
have been
city.
the same one.
It was like what the land.
He talked about how he regretted doing that stuff.
Yeah. He definitely, and like how I guess he said that he didn't know that the director was going to do that, but he said that they definitely killed those animals.
I was talking about the director.
No.
I
This
talked
was
to
the
a panel
actor
with him.
Yeah, no, the actor.
And he said if I could go back and change one thing, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have shown it because they were real natives. That's how they eat. But I wouldn't have put it on the screen.
Nah, they had the, I saw the actor. But either way, and then like, I might have been the first time I actually saw that movie, and it was just like the hype just didn't live up. Like, It was just one of those things where I was just like, okay.
That last shot with the girl on the pole, not the
that's
stripper
great.
pole,
Yeah.
impaled on there. That's a great shot. That's iconic. But
that's why when people
I can't even get that far because I can't deal with the animal stuff.
I'm saying when people shit on like the Green Inferno, I'm thinking like
I love that movie.
Yeah,
I did not like that movie.
It's not that I didn't.
It was
love
okay,
it,
but I didn't. We saw it together.
Okay, yeah.
That throat slitting scene every time gets me.
There's some like decent stuff on there, but when you're comparing it to let's say Cannibal Holocaust, I'm like, yeah, you're being influenced by a movie that wasn't really even that great. It's remembered.
It's also super grit. That's like a gritty movie, and it's in the time, and it has all that allure to it. It was banned. Like it.
Yeah,
I think.
Absolutely.
The guy went to trial because they thought the actors really got killed. He had to go to trial in Italy.
I heard about that.
And they kind of kept it as part of, because you can't buy that kind of promotion.
It was on the cover, banned in 40
But if
countries.
you look at a subgenre, the cannibal subgenre, and they were mostly Italian films, that might be the worst.
Fucking greaseballs.
Almost. Wops.
Yeah.
That might be the shittiest subgenre, because I'd say 99% of the movies made in that genre suck.
Yeah.
I mean, find another one. And they made a lot.
It was Cannibal Ferox. That was the first. I bought that thinking it was Cannibal Holocaust because it was like, I hear about it. And I rented that, and I was like, I bought it. And I was like, it wasn't really my thing at all.
Same thing, Dr. Butcher, we went to go see at Nighthawk.
Yeah, and that was like...
It was okay.
It wasn't
They're
that great.
all... Okay is all you could hope for. Like, that was okay.
It's not eating Raoul.
I didn't shut it off. But yes.
But anyway, Parker, do you remember your introduction to horror?
I think the earliest that I remember was Sunrise Mall. They used to have that movie theater there, and I think I was probably 7-ish, and I saw it was either the Terminator or Twilight Zone. Those were the first two that I remember seeing.
Which ones?
Twilight Zone and Terminator. Those are the first two that I remember. And I remember being in my brother's car, and I actually checked the back seat to see if there was a fucking Terminator back there because I was so fucking scared shitless.
The first one was pretty horrifying.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah. And gritty.
Yeah,
you know?
it was like very horrifying because it's this thing that wants to kill you and no one could stop.
That's what I said. I always said that Terminator is one of the scariest movies. Like when you watch it, it's like, oh, it's cool, but like when you think about it, it's like here's a fucking machine that can't be stopped, whose mission is to kill you only.
Yep.
Like, so it doesn't matter what gets in his way, he has to get you. Like, and it's like,
yeah,
so
everyone else
could
could just step aside.
And it's so dark, like you said, and gritty. It's like, it was just awesome. It's just such a great movie. It's like one of my favorites. So I think it's one of the scariest.
And I think it's really comparable to the way Alien and Aliens is.
Yes. Yep.
You take the first Alien and you compare it to like Terminator. Like they're both like these dark, like slow build-up movies. And then like Aliens and Terminator 2 are just like completely like
full on.
I don't think Terminator is too slow. It starts.
No, not Terminator.
The opposite.
No, Terminator 2 and Aliens. I'm saying they're it's almost like both those sequels. Like when I think of like those, Alien and the original Terminator, it's almost like those are like two standalone movies.
Right, and then the second,
and then Hollywood like grabbed a hold of those other two, and they're like, we're going forward.
Yep.
That is a scene. Not to cut you off, Parker.
Yeah,
there's a scene in Terminator 2 that I find to be one of the, in theory, scariest scenes is when she's running
Fried
down the
against
hall.
that one.
When she's running down the hall and Schwarzenegger steps out of the elevator and she just
Yeah.
stops dead in the tracks. It's like,
So good.
like that scene, like you're just running into your worst nightmare ever. Like you think you got rid of it, and it's just right there in front of you. It's like it's such a powerful scene. Like
Yeah.
when you really break it down, like it's like, man, like you just ran right into your nightmares,
Yeah.
and you can't. And it's like, how do you get away from this fucking thing again?
Yeah.
And, it's such a good scene. It's like my favorite scene in that movie.
Yeah, it's good.
Sorry,
I love
bro.
that fucking movie.
Yeah, me too.
I can't say enough fucking good things about that. And
I saw
then-
that in the theater.
Me too.
Lindenhurst.
I think I did Levittown.
Shout out to $2 Lindenhurst.
Yeah, there you go. The 2 L's. But going back to Langan, I guess what hooked me was, I guess I just never learned my fucking lesson. I think I told the story how I rented Day of the Dead on VHS at South Shore Video, actually. And scared the fucking shit out of me to the point where I literally didn't even go to sleep that night. Stayed up the whole fucking night. So figured this was probably 85, I guess that was, 86.
That's when it came out.
Yeah, so I was
85.
So I was 8 or 9 when I saw it. Literally, my mother drives me to return the movie. I return it, and I literally re-rent it. And she screams at me. She's like, "What the hell are you doing? You just did not go." I said, "I got to see this thing again." And
That's
that
awesome.
and that was kind of it. I just
What
kind
do
of
you think
me.
made you want to get it again, though?
I
Like, you know
guess
what I'm
I
saying?
just-
Like, you were so scared, but yet you wanted to rent it
Yeah,
again.
I just-
Was it like like I need to overcome this fear?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And I mean, I kind of have that same, Ramiro, rest in peace. But he always says how he always tinkers back and forth between dawn and day as his favorite. I kind of do that too.
Yeah.
Because
Me too.
and it's true because he says how Dawn is kind of like a comic book, like happy ending and like all that other. And Day of the Dead it's just fucking like dirty, depressing, like.
Yeah.
You watch like the interviews with like the actors and like these fucking people like during filming like they were like almost dying down there. Like they had to send like a paramedic down there to like give them like vitamin B shots because they were all sick for like months and like.
I compared it
Why?
to the movie.
Just because filming like they were filming in like a what was it? It was like a lime.
Wine, maybe. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But you know what Day of the Dead reminds me of, and I know Langan just saw it recently. Miracle Mile, like where they have that same feeling, and I know we mentioned it in the Rubino episode, because they're both like so depressing, and there's no hope in either one of those. So
Back to something you said before about when people, I do get annoyed when people say, "Is it scary?" But I just watched The Conjuring, the first Conjuring, the other day for the first time,
Yeah.
and I had to watch in 2 parts just because it was late, not because I was too scared. But I thought it was pretty scary. Like when I was watching it, I was like,
I never saw that.
when you get, if you put yourself into if the movie's done right, and you get lost into the atmosphere, and they get like when, I don't, spoiler alert, but there's a scene when she's in the basement and like there's a ball comes out of nowhere, and then like hands come out. Like the way they had it set up, like they set up a good atmosphere where it had you like a little tense. I mean, I was able to go to sleep that night. I wasn't like, oh my god, I can't sleep because this movie scared me so much. But as I was watching it, you kind of get enthralled, and you kind of put yourself in the place, and you can get a little on edge, a little tense. I mean, you could still get scared at this age, but it's not like
Right.
I'm not
Exorcism movies still get to me. Those are the really
I think that
those are the only
supernatural
ones.
stuff
Yeah.
sometimes is the creepiest for
it's
me.
certain things
Yeah.
could get
there's
you.
nothing. Maybe just because I believe in nothing. So for me, it's hard to really even take a supernatural thing like seriously. But the last thing that I remember, there was 2 things. It was Martyrs,
Yeah, I didn't see that one yet.
That's a very good movie.
No,
2008.
Martyrs I saw. Inside I didn't see.
I didn't see that one either.
Okay, yeah, Martyrs really was a movie that I watched, and I was just like, holy shit! Like, there's just something that I've never seen. There was a plot that I've never seen, and you don't even know the plot till like the movie is almost over, and that was horrifying. Once I realized why they were doing what they were doing,
Yeah, that was pretty
yeah,
awesome.
very mind blowing. And then the other one was Excision. I just recently
I remember
watched,
the name, but I never. I don't
which
know
was
if I
like
saw it.
2012, and it was just because the girl.
That the one with Tracy Lords?
Yes,
That was good.
that was good.
John
right?
Waters too as a priest.
Because
Yeah.
the main actress was so convincing
Yeah.
in her insanity.
Annalyn McCord, right? I
Yeah,
believe.
because she was also in that movie 68 Kill that I just saw. So she sold her mental illness. So for me, mental illness and the evil that men do is like that's the horrifying
Yeah.
part for me. I like home invasion. I like things that could like happen. Those are the things that make me like think like, oh shit, like this is, you know, Red, White, and Blue is another one that made me feel very uneasy because it was like a girl doing something very fucked up.
Yeah.
Like driving well.
I don't think.
No, but
We don't have girl listeners as is now.
well, see, I'm the same way with you. I'm like Supernatural doesn't always get me because I don't really believe in that too much. But if they set it up correctly, like the scene in The Conjuring, it was like somebody was in their house. Like when you're possessed by the devil, that doesn't really scare me. I'm like, it doesn't like that. But like when there's like a ghost in your house, the way they set it up, it's like, fuck this, like, because it's almost like the home invasion. They can take something else in your house.
Yeah,
you know?
if it's great movie making and it's effective, then by all means.
So that kind of supernatural stuff I could deal with, where it was like, and it was dark enough, and they did it good enough where it had me tense. I was like,
yeah, the tense.
this is pretty good.
Absolutely.
But then I had to stop it because I was exhausted, and when I put it back on, maybe it was my mood, but that last half I was like, it lost some of that magic I thought it had in the first time, but it was pretty cool. But
at that point, it's just the direction. If the director could make it tense, like I was watching Sicario, which was like the cartel movie.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like a scene at the checkpoint that was so goddamn tense when I was in the movie theater that I'm like sitting there thinking like whatever. And as it was getting to that climax, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, what's going to happen? And it really got me. Same thing with Boogie Nights with the firecracker scene.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's building.
I don't care about
makes you
fire.
anxious.
Yeah, it makes you anxious. So if the direction is good, then by all means. So maybe.
Well, Dexter. Did you used to watch Dexter?
No. I watched the first episode and never went back.
It took a few episodes. The first season was a little slow. The second season was amazing. And then so was the fourth. But maybe because I'm such a goody two-shoes, like that show up until like the fifth or sixth season, because he was, the premise of it, he worked for the police, but he was a serial killer. And he would, So when he would be on the verge of getting caught, I would always be on like the edge of my seat, like, oh, how's he going to get caught? How's he going to get out of this? I'd kind of be like, because it was done well enough where you cared and you got invested. And I think people give jump scares are cheesy, but if the director has you captivated in the moment where you get lost in it and then you get jumped, like that's how jump scares work in a way, not just the typical cat in the closet.
I'll excuse some jump scares.
Like jump scares are good, but
just don't overdo it.
Yeah,
don't overdo it. Don't let that be the only scary thing.
When they're like in the bathroom and they pull the bathroom mirror open, and there's gonna be a face in it.
Right, when
it's like some of them, or they go to a certain wide shot, and it is coming in the doorway. It's like, all right, here it comes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Some are effective, some aren't. So
yeah, exactly. It depends on how you do it. So I don't always poo jump scares, but if it gets you in the mood, like if the movie has you sucked in enough where a jump scare can really work, it's like, well, then it means the director did his job. Like he's keeping you enthralled. Like, what's going to happen? They set the mood well.
Yeah, everything's just on a basis of the actual movie. So,
but when I do hate when they show the commercial, like the audience getting scared. Like that's not a sign of a scary movie. They'll get them jump. Like anyone can make you jump. There's a scene in Jurassic Park that made me jump. Like a dinosaur came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, I jumped. But if you saw me on camera, it's like, oh, it must be scary. No, it's
there's an audience for that.
Yeah.
There's an audience for that because my cousin will see that commercial and think she needs to go see that movie. So for every one of you, there's like 10 other people.
Why did I have to? Why did I know it was going to be a she when you said that?
Yeah, I just she's just like that's all. So all right, so we all know basically how important it is in our lives and how we got there. What do you think at the ripe old age that we're all at that keeps you still going to Nighthawk and reliving these movies and watching it?
Well, for me, I like some of the movies because since I got into it late, a lot of the main ones that you guys saw I didn't really see like back then.
Yeah.
So sometimes there'll be something I never saw. And I like seeing it on the big screen. And when it's a night with your friends and it's a cool atmosphere, because usually the movies are older. I don't want like conversation chatter, but I don't mind when like the room's got energy and they're going with the movie and you could feel it. Like, so that makes it fun. That's why one reason I like to go to Nighthawk.
It happened for Maniac Cop, right?
Yeah, Maniac Cop.
Like that,
like that kind of stuff is like, it makes it more fun.
Yeah.
And I don't keep up on my movies like you do. If it's a good movie, I want to watch it. So,
Yeah.
and I still like horror. I do like that. I don't, like we said, we don't really get as scared, but I still like that genre. I still want to see something different. I still also want to hope it's going to make me scared. Like, I think it's also searching for that, like, is this one going to get me? Is this one going to make me nervous? Am I going to, like, get that same feeling I had when I first started watching this stuff?
I get brought back, if I watch certain movies, not all of them, but if I watch the first Halloween, I get anxious
Yeah, same thing. That movie would always get me.
because it's just like there's just something about it. It's like embedded in my psyche that once I start watching it, you start reliving that, and man, that's tough to do. There's only a handful of movies that I could think do that.
Chainsaw Massacre doesn't really scare me, but it grosses me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it affects me still.
But nothing happens really, and it's just that first half because it's so gritty and it just seems so disgusting. That
Sweaty.
and then
It's Texas.
And Franklin's got that
Disgusting.
fucking sausage or whatever's in his mouth. He's just sucking on it like it's just so like it's
You
just
love
such a-
that part.
Well,
Come on.
because I was like, why can't that be me?
That's coming from a vegetarian too. Well,
I find it disgusting. I wasn't jealous that he was sucking on the sausage. Like, wish I had some sausage
so
right
jealous,
now.
Franklin.
now.
Sausage.
All right, so here's a topic that we quickly touched on. I just recently watched Happy Death Day.
I wanted to see
How
it.
was that?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I had
original. Very original, I thought. I mean,
Did you
Except
watch it?
for
I didn't say it. I mean, it's very. It's obviously Groundhog Day is a horror movie.
Groundhog Day and End of Days with Tom Cruise, which is a fucking
I
phenomenal
mean,
movie.
there were some things in there, and the guy who directed it also directed Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse.
Oh, love
Same
it.
director.
Okay.
Great movie.
It's a PG-13 movie, and in my head, I'm thinking, if it was R-rated, like Scout's Guide was, maybe it would have been a little bit more fun. But I could see, like, it was definitely made for the 18 to 21-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I think those people are really going to enjoy it. And then they did. They went out and they, for 30, like,
It beat it, I think.
well, I mean, it's been out for, like,
Or it beat something else that was new.
Blade Runner.
That's it. That's what I meant.
Yeah, so it made $30
Horror's
million.
doing good at the box office.
Absolutely. So
I mean, it's that time of year too to release those kind of.
Yeah.
films.
but I think it did so well that maybe people still have that lust for it, and I feel like this movie was accessible enough in the story. This girl gets. Do you know the plot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They
girl
show it in the
gets-
commercial. They show it
Yeah.
too much.
This girl basically just keeps getting killed and waking up, and it's almost like she's Mario, it's Super Mario Brothers, and she has like 100 lives, so she has to figure out who's killing her.
Right.
And that part of it is fun. The music is fun.
The mask is pretty creepy.
The mask, yes,
I mean, well, if you saw that like coming at you, someone with that mask, like, yo, what the fuck? Like it would creep you out.
yeah. So I had a lot of fun with it, but like I said, it always brings me to that topic of like PG-13 horror. Like, what do you think about it?
I'm not a fan. I mean, I can't say I'm not a fan if the movie's done right, but like when I see a movie that looks like it's going to be good and then PG-13 pops up on the screen, I always like sigh, like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
why can't you just, I know box office wise, it's easier to sell PG-13 than R. We're not making any money off the movie, so we want to see it the way we want to see it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
The old heads.
yeah, but it's like, you should just make an R-rated movie. Like, just make a good movie and people are going to go see it. Like It, rated R. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yes.
I mean, granted, it's Stephen King, and it's one of his most popular books, and it had a shitty made-for-TV movie, so it was like, so it was.
I thought it was, yeah.
I
pretty-
loved it. You know the original?
I
Well, you know, I
actually
mean, it's
just watched it again because all the talk's been it, and I saw it obviously as a kid, but it didn't stick with me. So
Yeah.
I rented it from the library.
Yeah.
I'm the library dude.
You're the one.
Blu-ray.
Shout out to Scott.
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And watched it, and it was good.
It's not bad.
You know what
actually.
it is? The first half's great with the kids. The second half is awful when they become adults. And you're trying to believe them all bonding together. Like they're all going to get back together and do this crap.
Yeah.
What did
It
you?
should have
that's
just
my
stayed like a
worry-
Stand By Me kind of kid thing.
Well,
whatever.
that's my
but-
worry for part 2 of the new one.
I don't. I think it's gonna be
A
great.
little. That's my worry. I mean, I'm sure they could pull it off, but the kids thing was like, it was like Goonies, Stand By Me,
Right.
with like with gore and violence. Like it was like it really it just made you feel good.
Yeah,
It was like
definitely.
a good
Obviously,
way
the
to do
TV
it. It was
version's not going to have,
well, that's what I
that
mean by
stuff,
shitty. It
but
was
it did
like,
have John Ritter and Harry Anderson.
So
though.
good.
and Seth Green.
And shout out
Yeah.
to Tim Reed.
Tim
from
Reed, yeah.
WKRP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They really and John Boy from the Waltons.
that's right.
They really brought the big cast. So if
I
you're going to
always
get a
hated that
cast
Mulholland
together
Street.
that good, I guess I can't.
Yo,
blame
back
them.
then that cast was banging.
That was hot.
Like everyone had their they probably all drove their Porsche to the set. They probably did some.
Well, that might have John
So-
Ritter. Well, John Ritter was well after Three's Company. He might have been in a little bit of a low right there.
Because that spinoff didn't do well.
They were probably like, "Get me Bronson Pinchot," and he's like, "I'm too,
Ah.
I'm too popular now." I'm like, "All right, John Ritter."
What,
He was
what
like, "Don't be ridiculous."
what did you like about it?
About the remake?
Yeah,
Or the
no,
original?
about the original.
I don't know. I guess same thing. Probably just because I saw it when I was so young, and I just that's one of my favorite King movies, the original. And I mean, I watched it before I saw the remake. Sarah had seen it, I guess, when she was younger and remembered none of it. But I think just fucking Tim Curry.
He was great.
One of the scariest clowns, of all time. And if I had to pick my two favorite Tim Curry characters, it would probably be that and Legend, because I thought he was great in
I
Legend.
didn't see
also.
Legend.
So good.
I thought the Butler in Clue.
Three different endings,
Clue was
man.
great.
Three different endings.
Well, the original. I mean, it's cheesy and it's dated. The original It. I saw it when it came out, and I didn't watch it when it was on. My friend taped it, and I borrowed it from him. But it was so goddamn long, and he put the wrong speed on his VCR.
Oh, man.
In case
He gave you the doom metal
You
version.
new jacks don't know. There was EPSP and SLP, so if you
Nice.
did it
Yes,
the
I
wrong one,
remember it.
Yeah.
if
Very
you did it on
good.
the wrong one, you didn't have enough time.
Was
I
that
was
one of your trivia
all-
questions?
No.
Son of a bitch. That would have been a good one.
Yo. SLP.
Yeah, you
and
wanted to get
packing those-
Single
I would buy
long
the
play,
BA
right?
I'd pack in all those Howard Stern Channel 9
I have a whole
episodes
tape of
right on
the
that.
Howard Stern Channel
No
9.
doubt. We all did.
But I would do, so I would buy the BASF 8-hour tapes and put as much shit as I can. But, whatever he
8
recorded.
hours. Wow.
Yeah.
I just remember 6.
There was 6 and 8. 8 were the.
You must
It
have
was
come
new.
from a fancy house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, the ending got cut off. So I never actually saw the ending back then.
Probably better off. That ending is horrible.
And then I read the book during Hurricane Sandy. And then I rented it after. And I didn't love the ending of the book. I was like, it got a little weird and crazy and like just not like, because Stephen King doesn't really outline his books. He just kind of just goes. So I found that out recently. And as I was reading, I'm like, man, you really don't have like a way out. He just kind of goes. And I'm like, I didn't love the way it ended in the book.
Right.
And then I rented it again. I rented it and watched it. And it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah.
But like some people think if they see it when they're younger, it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. I don't mean you or that movie in particular, but anything they saw when they were a kid can't be touched, and it's the best thing ever. It's like, no, just because you saw it when you were younger doesn't mean it's the best thing ever. Like,
But
it
it's
could be
always
better.
that way.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're so impressionable and these
Exactly.
things make a
Yeah,
big
you still
impact on
love Age of Quarrel.
Yeah, it's a perfect fucking record, man.
Exactly.
It's if you don't think that's a perfect record, it's gonna be.
But anyway, so all right, so real quick,
Yeah.
PG-13 does make you second guess watching a movie.
Oh, yes.
Langan,
Initially, yes. Like, I see it and like, I'm disappointed. But when I knew you were going to go over this question, like, I'm looking up like PG-13 horror movies and like one after another. And there were some good ones on.
No,
I'm
there,
a big
there
fan
was.
of the like Insidious.
It's not.
I like that series.
It's not whether or not there are good movies. It's the initial feeling. That
Initial
you get.
feeling
feeling
is
is-
I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
But I'll see it.
Yeah.
If it's good enough. And it's the problem is they churn out a lot. That's the target demographic. You get the young kids with expendable income. You remember how the kid, you go with some girl, you go to a date, you go to the movies.
Able to buy
They're-
8-hour VHS tapes.
You're going to add all that income. So they churn out a lot of crap at PG-13. But if it's a good movie, all it really means is it's not going to be that gory.
Yes.
But it still can be a
Sixth Sense.
thriller, a
The
good
Sixth
thriller.
Sense, I thought was
Absolutely.
fucking
Same
suspenseful
thing
shit.
with the Final Girls for me. When I read about this movie, I was like, okay, I can't wait to see this. It's a love letter to slasher films. It's going to be R-rated. Then I saw the PG-13 rating, and it just like made me sink in my seat a little bit.
Right.
And I was like, whatever, I'll still watch it. And I watched it, and it was like one of my favorite
That
movies
movie is
of all
fucking
time.
great.
So good.
That is
But-
such a great movie.
Because instead of the gore, they had in a story that you loved. It was
Yeah.
the mother and daughter team, and you were like, "Holy shit!" And then you sympathize with the girl.
that
'cause,
movie almost made me cry twice.
yo, it got a little dusty up in there.
I got-
I'm not gonna lie.
I got
It definitely
choked up.
got.
It's strictly the gore because they don't have enough TNA in horror movies these days. Not
Yeah.
like the
They don't.
80s.
That's
so
one
it's
reason
really
why I
gore.
liked-
That's it.
One
So-
reason why I thought Freddy vs. Jason was good
Oh,
because they
very
had
nice. I like it. I
because
like where
it
your
had,
head's going.
It had a lot of new. It was like kind of like a throwback almost because that was like that era when everything started to get sanitized and like
Yeah.
taking away the gore, taking away the TNA, and they put it back in Freddy vs. Jason. That's one reason why I thought that was such a fun, great
Yeah.
movie.
For you, Parker, does it derail you a little bit?
A little bit. I mean, going to what like Lang was saying. I mean, two that I could think of right off of bat that I'm a sucker for that I probably watch every time is Disturbing Behavior and The Faculty. Those
Oh,
are
yeah.
The
those
Faculty.
and I mean, are they horror?
The Faculty
you know, are-
was rated R.
No, PG-13.
Wow.
Yeah, they were both PG-13.
Faculty is the one with
Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
and BB Newworth when the aliens.
That was a Robert
and,
Rodriguez movie.
Yes.
John
Yep.
Stewart was
Robert
a teacher.
Patrick.
Yeah.
And they
Yep.
they used acid, right?
Robert Rodriguez.
Isn't that kid was making drugs and
Yep.
they stabbed him with the pen.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like Invasion of the Body
Yeah, yeah,
Snatchers.
exactly.
Usher was in there.
Yeah. Shout out to
Shout
Usher.
out to
Usher
Usher.
Raymond. Okay, so that brings us to our next thing, remakes. How do you feel about them, Anthony?
I don't get upset at remakes as much as most people. Like when I heard they were remaking Chainsaw Massacre, I was pissed. I was like, why that and Dawn of the Dead? I'm like, why are you remaking those movies? Those are perfect. You're not going to be able to capture the grittiness and the despair of the original Chainsaw Massacre. And the same thing with the Dawn of the Dead. Like what made Dawn of the Dead good? Malls were kind of like new back then. So like when you went to like it was like, oh, they're going to the mall. It's like, that's weird. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, you always think about being trapped in the mall, like when you're younger or something like that. And it was new, so it gave it a cool vibe. And I'm like, they're going to get trapped in the mall in 2004? It's like, it doesn't seem as new as exciting. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And it's also another great movie. And I'm like, how could you do it? And those are two remakes that I actually really loved. And if you do it right, I'm okay with a remake. I don't think some movies I'm like, you don't have to remake this movie, but if they make it good,
but overall, you'll watch it.
I'll watch a
before.
remake.
So.
I don't mind at all.
Langan, what do you think about remakes?
I used to be very anti-remake. That knee-jerk reaction.
You've softened in your old age.
I have. I have. You know what it was, man? I get Cape Fear, right?
Yeah,
There's an old 50s version, which is
I
good.
never saw that one actually. I only saw the remake.
But I didn't want to see that version that my dad saw. I saw the De Niro one.
Exactly the point I was going to make.
You know?
Actually, I was going to
And
make.
I went back years later, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good film too." But I didn't want to see that black and white.
I was
shit.
going to make that devil's advocate
yeah.
point.
So I get it.
Yeah,
You
I was
know?
going to say some kid who is 18 years old is going to sit down and put on Dawn of the Dead, and they're going to see that Krishna zombie, and they're going to be like, nah.
Right. Dawn of the Dead is the
Karen
original.
will fucking do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you forget.
And that appeal.
Because you would like that too.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
you're just like, wait a minute, how dare you?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This is a classic. But then when they watch it 2004, they're like, oh shit, Mekhi Phifer's in this. I know him.
And Ving Rhames.
You know what it is? They turned out some really crappy ones, and that's what did it. They were clearly just like, we're out of ideas. We're grabbing that, like, known things or whatever.
I'm looking at Mina Savari right now in Day of the Dead. remake.
Oof.
Oh, God.
How
so
dare you?
bad.
That was horrible.
So bad.
Nick Cannon, like,
Yeah. They turned out a lot of garbage and stuff. But then there was the one that really made me change my mind, giving other stuff a second look, was the Maniac remake.
ooh, that was
Because I
great.
thought that was
Great music.
really fantastic.
Fantastic.
They kept the story kind of faithful, but they gave it a modern twist. Great soundtrack, all this stuff. I'm like, wow, that was really well done. You know what I mean? In a
And-
different way.
I almost shit my pants when they said Elijah Wood was going to play
Yep. Yeah.
the character.
But he did it. He worked.
And I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. And then I watched it, and I'm like, it's POV.
Right.
And then when that guy chumped him in the bathroom because he's such a like little dork, it made me feel like
I gotta watch it. I didn't see the remake.
Oh, it's so,
so good.
goddamn
Great
good.
music. Soundtrack was great.
What do you think about remakes, Parker?
I'll try them. I mean, I'll watch anything. I mean, you know.
But like the initial feeling that you get when you see something.
I mean, after watching the fucking Nightmare on Elm Street remake, I hope that they never ever make them ever again.
Dude, that was terrible.
Because that was one of the worst.
worst.
Yeah.
That movie was fucking terrible.
But then, you know, as a positive, I mean, I thought that like the Blob remake, I can never say anything enough good things about that.
That's amazing. But again,
Yeah.
you also got to think that came out when you were
True.
younger. So that was probably your first
That's
taste
the
of the
whole
Blob.
thing, yeah.
But
With what Langan said, the same thing. It's
Yeah.
like, you know,
You don't
we're
wanna
not
go
going to
back.
watch that 50s
Yeah.
one. We're going to like
It's funny though, you know, Dawn of the Dead, the remake. I saw that opening day, probably the first showing at like 10 a.m. And I remember sitting there, and it was packed house, and you know, they're talking about where they're going to go, and the guy goes, "Oh, we're going to go to the shopping mall and hide out." And I remember the kids in front of me, they started laughing, and I just thought to myself, I'm like, these motherfuckers didn't even see the original. I'm like, they're supposed to go to the mall. There's nothing funny about this.
Right.
You know?
So, any movies that you feel should either be remade, or any movies that you feel should get a sequel?
well, I looked at when you posed the question earlier. I did it more standalone movies. I didn't want to do movies
I don't
that
give a
had
shit. Go
sequels. But well, the first movie that came to mind was The Blob, the remake. Because remember at the end with when the priest had that would, so it was like that would be.
We're still waiting for the sequel.
Yeah, well, there's a movie that could use a sequel.
Yeah.
And then
Got to call Trauma.
Night of the Creeps.
Oh,
yeah.
good one.
Look at you, man.
But I did look up movies that were standalone to see and just to get an idea. But
They did have a sequel for Night of the Creeps. It was called Slither.
Nice.
is it the sequel to that?
No, but
Night of
they-
the Creeps actually has two different endings, though.
That's right. There is a second ending.
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw that
No,
alternative
I haven't
ending.
seen the second one.
No. You could borrow it. Don't worry. I have both endings.
The Mist was one that they put because I put in what deserves a
Depressing
sequel.
fucking movie, man.
I love that. It's a fucking great ending.
Did you ever see the black and white?
That's the only one I
That's
watched.
even fucking worse.
Andolfo, shout out to Truthhammer.
The truth.
He told me that he said you should watch it in black and white.
Yeah, that's
so I did, and I
depressing,
loved
that
it.
one.
It
Yeah.
was great in black and white.
Yeah.
But that came up on list movies that should get a sequel. And I don't know if I agree with that getting a sequel.
No,
but,
I think it was great. That ending.
I think it was.
That ending was so not like an American Hollywood movie, which is why that ending was perfect because it was just so terrible.
Also Stephen King, right?
Like it's a
That's his story, but I heard King was upset at that ending because it was so good. He wished he thought of it. That might be a rumor. I don't know. I didn't look it up. I didn't Google it, as the kids say.
Dr. Google.
But
breaking news. You hear it first.
Used to ask Jeeves. Nothing came back.
Tucker and Dale was one that was on that list, and I don't agree with
That was a fun
with
movie.
That was fucking movie is amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it deserves a sequel because
I had that on my.
Do you?
Yeah. Why not? Those
mean,
guys are great.
Yeah,
it was
that
great,
a good
but
combo.
just that when I watched it like a year or two ago because everyone kept talking about it on the group,
Right.
and I was like, let me watch it. I was hysterical. I watched it by myself,
Yeah.
and I was hysterical.
It's great.
Like the idea that when they're like, these kids are killing themselves all around
Yeah.
us. There's like a suicide pact. Like the idea of that movie was so amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how would you be able to recapture that? Like, would you
Yanking 'em
be
out of
able
the
to sequel to
wood
that? That wood chipper scene when the guy turns his back and that kid jumps into the. So it's like in his mind,
Yeah.
a guy just jumped into a wood chipper.
Yeah.
I was crying, laughing so hard. It was amazing.
I think it's worth a shot. I
mean, you could
those
try it, but
good characters.
I
Just
just
write
feel
a
that
story
it
around
could
them.
be-
You got the people, you know.
Yeah, I just feel like that was like amazing. I feel like maybe making a sequel might be, if you do it right, I'll watch it
Yeah.
for sure.
Hey man,
but
let him have his pick. It's okay.
I'm not stopping him. I'm just saying. But yeah,
What do you have, Langan?
As
As far as like anything that needs a sequel or something that would needs to be remade.
I would like to see another Planet Terror.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought that. I was thinking that too.
God, I love that movie.
That movie does not get enough praise.
No, it doesn't.
It does not.
I think because it got lumped in with Death Proof, maybe.
And I'll tell you another thing.
I didn't mind Death Proof.
I
didn't
didn't mind
mi-
it either.
I
but-
watched that 2 nights ago, actually.
I didn't mind Death Proof, and here's where, speaking of the Green Inferno, The Green Inferno was trying to be like almost like a mockery of itself, like a very self-aware thing where it's like the acting and like these like things were like paying tributes to like the ridiculousness of those old Italian cannibal flicks. But Planet Terror succeeded in doing that. Like, you know, like the acting and like the stupid dialogue, like it just felt perfect.
The
like
score, everything.
El Rey.
Yeah.
You know, like everything about it, the fucking the babysitter twins, like just the most random shit.
And you got the perfect setup, like, you know, this big cloud and it's turning these people into everything and stuff like that. Now you delve into what happened to the world after that. You could pick another cat. There's so many. It's like a zombie movie.
Then it could be the apocalypse after. Like,
there's options there. So
Yet
that was
another movie that Michael Biehn dies in.
Yeah,
Guy dies almost every movie.
Never makes it to any.
Yeah. Think about it.
yeah, but he's a key figure.
Key figure. But I also had
His seed, John Connor, the Revolution.
That's
you know,
right.
His seed lived on.
I had Nightbreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great characters in that. Well, I'd like to see where they could go with that. Slither that you mentioned earlier, and Shaun of the Dead. Why not?
Yeah. Slither, James Gunn.
It's on my shit right there.
You know what? Guardians of the Galaxy and all that other shit. Like he did the Belko experiment this
that
year.
was
I
good.
to see that still.
That was
looked-
good.
that
You
looks
can borrow
like a
that
fun
too.
one.
I got that too. You can borrow that.
Parker, do you have an answer for the?
It's not horror, but it's one of my all-time favorids. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh my god.
Nice.
And it's funny.
Sequel?
Sequel.
Or remake?
No, sequel. Sequel. And John Carpenter said out of all his movies that's the only one that he actually would have done out of all his movies.
Well, he's not dead, so don't say this would. He could still do it.
Well, we
He
haven't
could.
checked Google, so
Yeah,
He's
that's
the
right.
last of the
yeah.
the big dudes.
There was a funny story. Like we were recording a song with someone who shall remain nameless. He was telling us about this big producer and all this other shit, and we were just like laughing because we just didn't believe it. So we messed with our bass player's wife, and we told her, we're like, hey, listen, we talked to this said producer, and he said he can get us on the soundtrack to Big Trouble in Little China 3. And
The Search for Two.
She was just like, really? Are you serious? She's like, yeah, they just have to make 2 first. And like we're sending this email, and she believed us, and like to this day, I'm just like, I always bust Mariko's balls. She's actually the one who made us the card. So
Nice.
thank you very much for everything she does. She does like any IT problem, any picture that like that's all her. So for me, simple. Maniac Cop. I'm still waiting for that remake.
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool because where there's 3 movies in that series, the second one is the best. It's got Robert Davi, okay, the dartboard face, Robert Davi, and Bruce Campbell all in the same movie.
Yeah.
Leo Rossi's in that movie too, which is a dude from Halloween 2 and the Relentless series.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the first Maniac Cop was good, but it's so campy, and there's so much could be done with it. And 3 is just terrible.
Yeah.
Who would you want to play
Maniac?
Maniac Cop? Who would you want to be the
Robert
Maniac Cop?
Zadar. He's still alive. Actually, no, he's dead.
That guy's jaw.
Yeah.
Well, you
is
want to
frightening.
retired Maniac
frightening.
Cop? He's gonna have his gold watch on.
His jaw looks like the American Dad like cartoon.
Yeah, he does.
It's
Yeah.
that huge.
Good example.
He was in Tango and Cash.
Yeah,
Great
Yeah.
movie.
Fubar.
Love
Yeah.
it.
you broke that jaw.
Remember when Tango and Cash came out? It was like, wait a minute. You're telling me Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone are in a movie?
That was like
Holy
executive decision. Steven
Yeah.
Seagal and Kurt Russell. And then
And,
Steven
like,
Seagal
But
dies.
he was
like,
short. He
oh,
had a small part in
Yeah.
the movie.
He's like, we're not going to make it, but you are.
Yeah, 10 minutes into it, I was like,
It's almost as good as Harley and the
Marlboro
Marlboro
Man.
Man.
I know,
Yeah.
with Don Johnson and
I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say Harlem Nights.
Oh, and another good buddy one. What was the one with Dennis Rodman and Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Holy
Oh,
shit.
God, that one.
Double
Impact?
Impact.
Oh.
No, that was
No,
double team.
no,
Double-
Double something.
Go to Google.
Knockoff.
Yo, that movie
Double something.
is, and then he did his own movie, Simon Says.
Yeah, that's right.
Holy shit, that was the worst movie
Yeah.
of all time. Oh my God. Speaking of the ending of The Mist, there's something that I feel that movies that are foreign to America, they're willing to embrace these like darker subjects. A movie ending like the one in The Mist is nothing in like Japan or like Korea. Like these movies just have like, you know,
Right.
in France.
It's assumed it's going to be bleak.
Yeah.
And then maybe-
Why do you think? Why do you think like America has such an issue with these things?
I think, I mean, it's a broad generalization, but
Let's go there.
you want to go there?
Yeah.
I think that a lot, like if you look at years ago, the way Europe, say, approached films, like and all these art, Godard and Cocteau, Fellini in Italy, and all these, the art of cinema, and America gets caught up a lot in the big business, the industry of cinema, and I think that they're not scared to show how things might really end up, and I think, you know, in this country they like everything put a bow on it.
Yeah.
Well, the streets are paved with gold, like in America. That was like the thing.
Yeah,
So I think no one wants a bleak ending. They want to feel good. They want to feel good when they leave there. They don't want to feel like shit when they leave. And like that was a good point with the.
and do you
They're
think
not
like
worried about the money. They're worried about making a good movie.
And do you
He's
think-
worried about the bottom line? I think so. People
I
aren't going
think
to be
so.
happy
And
if you have.
I think you go back to like, you know, during the Great Depression in this country, and people went to films to escape. You know, people in that time period.
I
You know,
remember
film,
well.
it was all escape. You remember it was like
he was a
you were
spry
fresh off the
18-year
bread line, had a potato and a piece of bread, and you'd go see the talkies. But they wanted to escape life. You're not
Do
going
you
to show
feel
them
like-
a
and
bleak
do you feel
ending.
like maybe
Their life
Amer-
is bleak.
America's like the Yankees of the world, and they're so used to like
The winning all the time.
Winning,
That's
yeah.
fucking right,
you know,
dude.
so that they're just like, yeah, maybe that's what it is, you know, because you take like a movie like I Saw the Devil or these things that, you know, even like Inside, Itchy the Killer, a lot of these foreign flicks, Irreversible,
That
Old
one's
Boy.
a hard watch too.
Yeah.
Irreversible.
I didn't see that one.
Irreversible, red, white, and blue films like that are movies I was blown away, and I thought they were great, but I don't think I'll ever watch them again.
Well, they leave you like.
well, because
Yeah.
it's the evil that men do.
Yeah.
Like there is no ghost, there
No.
is no boogeyman, there is no like paranormal shit.
No.
It's just like you're.
It's what people are capable
It's what
of right in front of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. So definitely, red, white, and blue is one of those that leaves you like, holy shit. I guess people can do that. What do you think the meanest horror movie villain was?
Chucky.
Oh, God.
I said meanest, not worst.
One of
He
mine.
was very
I
mean.
hate the Chucky franchise. Are you being serious?
Yeah,
Well,
I don't get that. I'm going to get into that later because you have a topic involving that. But
Okay.
Fuck Chucky.
I gotta go with Rhodes. I gotta go with Captain
Rhodes?
Rhodes from
Yeah,
Day
Rhodes
of
is
the Dead.
great.
because
Oh,
he was
that's a
just
good
a
one. I didn't
fucking
think of
piece
that.
He was just a piece of shit.
See, what I mean by mean was I don't just mean like a killer. I mean like a guy who's like an asshole. Like
He
some
was.
I'm saying no. I
Yeah.
agree with what you said.
Yeah.
But that's why I said Chucky, because Chucky was like.
You're serious?
asshole.
Well, no, like he's a mean.
Like what? Would show up late for appointments,
He
so
would
like
be-
not
he
call
was
to
very
cancel.
Rude. He wouldn't take his
Rude.
shoes off when he walked in. No,
Are you mad because he's slightly taller?
He had
He's
no
like-
manners. He used
He
the
had-
wrong
he
knife
had-
when he ate
He had
dinner.
red hair. He was short, adorable. He took my role. He
was a good guy.
took my spotlight.
He
and
was a good
No, but I
guy,
just
right?
what it
Got
was more of a
problem
joke.
child.
But the scene that came to mind when you said meanest was when she notices his
When he starts
batteries-
cursing her out, I
when
love
his
it.
batteries weren't in there, and his head just turns like,
Love
"You
it.
fucking stupid bitch." He's just. So I thought mean. That's what came to mind. So
Yeah.
it was like more fun.
Okay.
Chucky was
Gotcha.
more of a fun answer.
Yeah.
But like the hitchhiker in Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Good one.
when he's sitting at the table, he goes, "You can help us." He goes, "No, he can't." Like they were just like they were
Yeah.
just mean. You know, like they were like fucked up people. They weren't just like I wouldn't Leatherface. I wouldn't call mean. He just was kind of simple
He
and
was
dumb,
off.
and he kind of followed along.
Yeah, simple and
so he
off,
wasn't like a
absolutely.
mean
And
guy.
the girl's crying, and he's mocking her cries
Exactly.
right to her face.
American Psycho. He was like mean. He was whipping those hookers with the hangers and scarring them up. So that's like
That's pretty mean.
it's like mean.
Yeah, I'll throw that in the meme pile.
Yeah. That's not nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very unnice.
Yeah.
Anytime I shake my head at somebody when they do something rude or wrong, I'm just like, oh, that's not. When I make that sound.
Yeah. Langan, who do you have?
I had the Last House on the Left crew.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They're pretty
Yes.
heartless and awful, and the fact that they end up somehow at the parents' house and they don't feel anything about just in general. But that was one of mine. I also had Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Steven Weber.
I mean, he was. Oh, fuck! Please, you didn't like that, right?
I didn't see it.
Stephen King's the only person that liked that.
Yeah.
But he was he's great character or whatever, the villain. But all the subtext of his alcoholism and that he's a wife beater and beats the child and he's crazy and all this shit. I mean, he's a pretty big piece of shit.
Yeah.
But so that's what I had.
Respect.
Definitely. Steven Weber. I'm still dying over that. How dare you?
Yeah.
More like the book.
I could get another one.
Do another one.
Yeah, you do another one.
Frank Zito from Maniac.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he was just.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy just as an actor, I love that guy. And I still love that fucking movie. I was upset that actually didn't make it in the tournament. I forget what beat that out.
Oh, what did beat Maniac?
Yeah. Because that's one of my all-time favorites.
Well, maybe-
Maniac.
I remember
Are you
it disappointed me.
I think it got beat
Maniac
out.
lost.
Yeah,
Oh,
to something.
it was to Henry. Henry, Portrait of a
Was it?
Serial Killer.
That is a crazy movie, Henry. I remember watching that
great
the first
movie.
time, and I remember the one scene that I remember was when the guy that was in the Night of the Living Dead remake, his buddy that's in that movie, I forget the actor's name, but when he gets stabbed in the eye with the comb, and I remember just slow mowing that on the VCR, and you just see the dummy head, and just this other hand comes up and just pokes the guy in the eye.
Yeah, it's a brutal movie.
It is.
And I liken it to Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Like they're
I haven't seen that in so long.
Yeah.
Henry?
Henry. I saw it a couple times back in 90, 91,
Yeah.
like that era, but I haven't seen it. I don't think I've seen it since then.
Wow.
I remember it being pretty gritty, but I don't
It
remember.
was. Yeah.
I remember the story of Brian Casal. I said it on the thread. My friend Brian, after we watched it, we were kids, and he for some reason he just thought it was funny because I guess he would just order Troy built chipper vac catalogs, which is some catalog for man tools or something. So he would just order
Man tools.
He would.
They're called tools.
I don't know what it was. It was these I don't remember exactly what it was, but he would send stuff to my house under a different name. And after we watched that, he sent something called under the name Henry Dakilla.
That's amazing.
It was just
That's awesome.
and it was just because we watched that and probably Menace to Society not too long after. So. All right, cool. So we'll just keep it moving here. What are two of your favorite horror movie characters?
Horror movie characters like the villain or just
No, whatever.
anyone from the movie? Well,
Anyone.
I first read it I thought villains, so I put Freddy
Okay,
and then Pinhead.
that's a character.
They're not my favorite, Halloween and Chainsaw Massacre are probably my favorite horror movies. But as far as character goes,
Yeah,
Freddy is fucking
yeah.
amazing.
He
And
could
Pinhead,
he could do stand up.
yeah.
And
And
he could open for Neil
Pinhead
Rubenstein.
was just
From
fucking,
3 on, though. He only does stand up from
Yeah.
3 on. That's when he gets
But
funny.
from Pinhead's classic, just vicious,
He's pretty
kinda,
vicious.
So
he
he was
gets
a
so
pretty
many
sick
good
character.
lines,
yeah.
brutally
Oh, yeah.
savage lines.
Yeah.
Pinhead,
But as far as not the villain, this isn't my white guilt, but
obviously is now with
Peter-
the disclaimer.
Peter from Dawn of the Dead
Nice.
and Ben from Night of the Living Dead,
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
because I those characters fucking awesome.
Ben was great.
Yeah, both of them were awesome characters.
Okay.
Although in retrospect, that dude that jerk, the fat guy with his
He was
family that
correct.
lived in the basement, he was right.
Yep.
He
Right the whole
was.
And
time.
Ben was too stubborn. They should have ended up there.
Two favorite characters.
Well, you had Pinhead on there, so I'll go. I like Otis Driftwood from
Corpses?
Superman.
Corpses and
Devil's Reject.
Rejects.
Nice.
He's really good.
He was great in that role. Great one-liners.
and he was kind of scary.
Yeah.
You know, like more than he's been in a while.
Yeah.
Bill Moseley.
No, it was good.
What
So,
movies?
Devil's Rejects.
That's the Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
I know he gets crapped on, but Bill Moseley in
Well, he's
that
good.
role is fantastic.
Well, that's what he
But-
just said.
No, I'm
Otis.
saying, but I mean,
Yeah.
that movie I didn't like.
Yeah.
And
Talking
Patrick-
I'm not crapping. I'm not crapping
We're
on
talking
him.
characters. Relax.
and Patrick Bateman.
Okay. Yeah. So you same.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, you looking at my notes?
Maybe. I think we looked at the same Google page. So.
Yeah. Parker.
No, that was my own mind.
Parker, who are two of your favorite?
I'm just gonna stick with zombies. I got to go with Steel from Day of the Dead, who's just like a beer drinking wise ass pretty much the whole movie, and just I think that guy might say the F word like more than Rhodes in the movie.
nice
I
glasses.
said F word just because we have a child present over here.
He's
I'm not that.
earmuffs.
Oh, I'm sorry, not you, Anthony.
I'm the size of the child.
And I'm gonna go with Flyboy from Dawn of the Dead.
Nice.
Because he kind of gets like shit on the whole movie, and probably my all-time favorite zombie, Flyboy.
Flyboy.
You know, from from when that elevator first opens to the way that he walks with kind of like he's got like the one good leg and the one screwed up leg because he got shot, and then the
Shuffle.
zombies started eating him. So those are my two favorites.
Now, real quick, do we like? Actually,
Slow moving.
slow.
Slow moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we like slow or fast moving?
I like both. Like
Yeah.
I'm not. At first, I was.
You're not a
opposed-
snob.
No, I'm not. I was a little opposed to them being fast and Dawn because 28 Days Later kind of changed that whole thing, and I felt like
But those weren't zombies.
right. But a lot of people thought they were,
Yeah.
and
If they run, they can't be zombies.
Well,
when
then
you die, you
makes sense.
deteriorate. You can't go fast.
I agree.
It's just science.
Yeah.
it is
That-
science.
That ankle would just like probably.
That's
Yeah,
true.
man.
But
Shout out to Thomas Dolby.
so I feel like 28 Days Later changed the game for like fast zombies, and then Dawn of the Dead made the zombies fast.
Right.
But it adds a different element, and it was a good way to change it. Not bad. A friend of mine had a cool idea. He makes movies. He wanted to do when they first become zombies, they're fast, and they have to get food for the older zombies that are slow because they're starting to deteriorate. Like, I was like, that's a cool way to fucking look at it. Shout out to Joe Average.
Yeah.
Do you feel that maybe like Romero is just being like kind of like an old bastard and
For being like against it?
yeah.
Well, no,
It's his
I
baby.
agree.
It's his
But I
baby,
agree
yeah.
with Langan. It's
Hey man,
they're
I'm just
dead.
playing devil's advocate here.
I understand, but no, I'm saying reality. They're dying. They shouldn't be able to move fast.
Yeah, but in
So-
reality they wouldn't be alive.
In reality,
Really?
I just laughed and now I just
Get those guys some jazzies.
we're
They
going
can,
to we're going down a wormhole of.
We pull up YouTube. I want to talk.
But I'm not a zombie snob when it comes to fast or slow.
Okay.
If the movie's done right, I don't know.
We're halfway to Zombieland. Just
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Great movie.
And I'll be a
Great fucking
I'll be a
movie.
walking zombie.
No.
You know, I can't run in my living days. So
You need that Leatherface cardio.
yeah. So okay, we're gonna ask Langan's son a question here, or you're gonna ask.
He's
him.
getting restless here. I told him I got to ask him a question on the air.
Go ahead,
he's
Langan.
very excited about this. I want to know your favorite Goosebumps story.
guy with one that eats bugs.
You got to talk into the mic there, buddy.
A guy that a guy one that the guy eats bugs.
Nice.
Hey,
That's
guy
my
eats
favorite
bugs.
too. That's my favorite too.
I also would like to know who your favorite villains are. Monsters.
Okay, so like you were talking about, I'd say any clowns on there, like the It guy and Chucky.
What about Larry Lalonde from Possessed?
And lastly, let me find out the scariest movie you ever saw.
Coraline.
Coraline. Good movie too.
All right.
Sweet.
That was Daddy's idea.
Listen.
Mommy said I'd scare you, and she was right. Is it?
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I got to buy a new mic.
Thanks,
cable.
buddy. All right.
So thank you, Ed.
Right,
Kid's taking my
get his
thunder.
old dad off of there and get the kid in there. Fresh blood.
Okay, so now we're gonna do. Who are the two least favored characters that you have, Anthony?
Freddy remake.
Oh, Jesus.
He was the fucking worst
He was
Freddy
the
ever. He was
worst.
so bad. He had no personality. He was just a flat piece of shit. It was
Yeah.
like, he was so bad.
Would you say that he was a bad news bear?
Yes.
He was the most unfunny pedophile you've ever seen. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
I thought he looked good, but like I thought he'd look good
It
Looked
was
okay.
just
He looked cool, but it was just
because
there
his
was
face is
nothing
very
to
odd
him.
to begin with. No,
Like Freddy is such
Yes.
a like character.
no charisma.
That's why he was my favorite on the other one, and the remake guy was my least favorite. So bad. That movie had such potential, and
I think
it
I
was
made
all
10
bad.
minutes into that movie.
I watched
It
the whole
I
thing.
was in the
that-
theater.
oh,
I was in the theater
atrocious.
watching it, and it was one of the only movies that I remember thinking to myself, I can't, like, I looked at my watch, and it was 30 minutes, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have
that
another
was
hour and change
horrific.
to
I
go.
thought they could have went in a fucking cool direction in that movie. Actually, when they
Sure.
find that room, before they found that room, like I thought they were gonna make it look like he was innocent, and it was like so change the whole thing. It's like, yo, they fucking accused the wrong man and they killed this guy, and now he's coming back.
Yeah.
And they just kind of just followed the course, and it was like, oh, he is, like I thought they could have went in a different direction and made it a little
I'm
cooler.
impressed. Like you remember anything about it? Like I think I've blacked out. Like I don't want to.
Well, that's because it annoyed me so much, and I thought that would have been such a good way to twist the
Right.
story that I remember.
They blew every opportunity they
Yeah.
could have went in a million ways. It's a travesty, that movie.
And
Number 2?
Boogeyman, and then Franklin from fucking Chainsaw Massacre.
Motherfucker, that was one of my answers.
Yeah,
you son of a bitch.
Franklin's like
He's like
that's
across
legend
the board.
status. That's like Back to the Future.
We should have
status.
retired his. Yeah, we should have retired his jersey and just threw him up on.
In that book I read by Gunnar Hansen, Texas Chainsaw Confidential, he said that dude was an asshole off camera, and he was like, he showed up in like a sports car and like a convertible, and he was like, he was such a dick. Wow. And but he was, it was young. He maybe he got better, and I think now he's dead. See what happens?
That's
Oh, wow.
where he's whining and he's blowing raspberries.
It's like
at,
so disgusting.
It
It's
goes
like-
on so long.
it's too much.
Charlie, where are you? Charlie?
Too much.
Jerry.
Oh, so
Langan,
annoying.
Langan, who are your 2 least favorite horror movie characters?
This was tough. I got 4 here. I'm trying to narrow it down here. Well, Franklin.
Let Parker-
I can take him right off
Let
it.
Parker borrow one.
I have one.
I have Skippy from Trick or Treat.
Oh,
Who
love it.
As a metalhead in that era, I felt we were misrepresented. We finally got one of our own, supposed to be a metalhead as the main character, and they picked Skippy
Yeah.
from Family Ties.
Guy's room was decorated awesome, though.
He's
I didn't
such
see it. I
Oh,
think
he's
you
such
said
a
watch it.
We watched it at my house.
poser. It was
Such a
the
poser.
Worst,
Yeah.
man.
I heard he was Adam Curry's inspiration.
total Adam Curry, same dude practically,
Yeah.
but that was really bad.
I heard his favorite band was Tough.
And I also had Chucky, but that's controversial.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw in Jesse from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
very,
he's
very
not. I don't
erotic.
hate him because it's so funny how bad that movie is
Yeah.
in many ways.
And after,
he is
after
so
the first one
bad.
being so goddamn good, and then the third one being good, like the
Yeah.
second one is like almost unwatchable.
I guess I don't hate him because it's so campy that I can kind of laugh at it. So I'll go with Skippy and Chucky.
Okay, that's good.
I just got another one. I just got to back up.
Go ahead, Parker.
Okay. So number 1 is Billy from Halloween 5, that little stuttering
Oh,
prick.
He got me.
Gotcha.
That's one.
That's the one I had.
And continuing with the children that I hate, I'm going to have to go with the son from Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he was pretty fucking
I hear
annoying.
that.
He was pretty annoying, that kid.
I hear that.
And this is why I don't have children. So there we go.
I was rooting for that puppet.
And one more. Speaking of
Earmuffs,
kids,
Aiden.
Yeah.
speaking of kids,
Yeah.
the kid from the Babadook.
Oh,
That kid drove me
Fuck.
fucking
You know
crazy.
what? People really hate that movie
I
because
love
of
that.
No,
that
I
kid.
I,
But
the
the
I didn't like the ending. Having him as a pet, like that was bullshit. I liked the movie though, but that kid was
But
annoying.
it wasn't like a pet. It was just like her mental illness, and it was just kept at bay, and it was just like her.
Is that what that meant?
Yeah, it just like her.
Gotta watch it again
her
now.
grief.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it
I
was.
thought it was
but
cool.
I know I was in the minority because I didn't realize it was so. Because I was on and off on the horror page for
Yeah.
so long, and I came back and I was like, oh my god,
It was
That
one of.
movie
It was one
good.
of those. It was one of the movies. Like it was. It Follows, The Babadook,
Very polarizing.
The Void,
Yeah.
and there was something else. Oh, The Witch. Those were the four movies
Shit, I
that
didn't
like
see that either.
people were just.
hated that
The Witch
No.
was a steam. The Witch was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
I'd rather go to your house and watch those guys put siding up than watch The Witch again.
They're pretty good, those guys.
I'm
That is true. It's probably way more entertaining. And the people that jump on the horror nerds and they're like, "Oh, it was so unsettling. Oh, it was like the most. It was the most original." Like I'm like, "Yo, shut the fuck up."
I
There was
like a
nothing
little
to-
art that they brought into some of the horror movies now, as far as cinematically and stuff, and it's a different angle.
Thanks
but
to A24.
don't get too get away from being like, I don't know.
You
It
gave
just
me
got-
nothing.
It fed into its own like it was like up its own ass.
You gave me
if that
nothing.
makes any
You
sense.
I didn't
basically
see the movie, but I understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
you gave me silverware and you gave me an amazing plate on a nice table and there was nothing to eat.
Shout out to that goat though. He was pretty cool looking.
Black Phillip was the best character in the movie.
For real.
Straight up. Like
Yeah.
that goat's
I
going
hope
places.
he goes. Yeah, I hope he gets an agent and breaks out of that shit.
I hope he's still alive.
But I don't like to talk about the. He'll be on a talk show. I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about the witch. It was early. I was young. Goat needed money.
He's on that fucking the actor studio.
Lipton.
What is your favorite curse word? So, but I'm gonna just reiterate what Parker said. That stuttering fucking prick from fucking Halloween 5
Billy, man. What a piece of shit.
might have been the worst character. Okay, 1 and 2, Halloween, amazing.
Flawless.
3 was a nice turn, regardless. It took me till a later age to appreciate it. 4 was a nice return.
Yep.
That was a really dark,
was in the title.
scary movie.
Was.
5 was a complete, like, just failure. It was a failure. There was, like, she was having dreams. She, like, calls him uncle at the end and touches his face.
I actually found a really good documentary that I didn't even know that they had.
too.
Parts 4 and 5 on YouTube.
Yeah, I put it up.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
it
Well, it was 4,
awesome.
5, and 6, actually, but they didn't even touch
They
6,
didn't even
really.
touch 6, which I love. I love
Yeah.
part 6.
Yep. So they wanted the guy who made 4 wanted Jamie to continue on as the killer, but in 5, when they got the new people, they were like, "Nah, we don't want to go in that direction."
Right.
So that's kind of like how they left. So like at the end of 4, she had the almost like Tommy Jarvis, like how they like ran away from that for Friday the 13th. They were they were like, "Okay, now you're gonna be the killer," but by the time that the sequel came around, they're like, "Nah,"
Yeah.
they're like, "We're just gonna hook you up with Horseshack, and you guys are gonna revive Jason."
Just gonna ignore what we set up and just start over. That's the great thing about
scratch
horror.
that point. Yeah, the best thing about horror, that's it. It's like, remember what happened in the first 6 movies?
And the guy's
Yeah,
like,
we can scratch that.
You want to do that again? Nah.
Yeah, we can scratch that. That's what they're doing with Halloween. Halloween 2018, they're going from part 1 into like, so they're gonna erase the whole like sister like reveal and all that other stuff. So there's just gonna be, I guess, Michael's just gonna be some random dude.
Wow.
So
That's gonna be
Why,
interesting.
did you not like the
though.
sister part of it?
that came to be in the second movie.
Oh, that you find out?
In the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
what I find out.
So speaking of that, let's talk about Final Girl. Who do you think is your favorite Final Girl? Anthony?
My favorite? I don't know if it's a favorite, but the girl from Scream was good.
Neve Campbell? Yeah.
I liked her.
You want to talk into that mic?
The girl from Your Next, I thought was pretty
Oh,
badass.
she was great.
She was pretty awesome.
She was really good.
Oh, man. Get it back up.
Come on.
She was
And-
really good, and that movie was like just
That's another one I got to say. I never saw
Really?
Yeah, I never saw that.
that is like home
That was
invasion.
a great one. That
Oh,
was
that's
I saw that in the
good.
theater.
That was like my favorite
You got
horror
that too?
movie of
Burn me
year.
that too with the raid.
And
I don't know if I have that.
Sally Hargis from
Okay.
Chainsaw.
Yeah. She definitely.
I love
Go
that.
to me first. Taking all my answers.
I love that psychotic laugh that she has in the
Yeah.
back of the pickup truck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the black dude though that saves her. Like that guy.
Black
should've-
Maria.
Yeah. What is it?
Well, that says on the.
Oh
the
yes,
truck.
yeah.
That could have been a trivia question.
Could have been.
Wow.
Edit that out.
Yeah. I mean, I can.
No.
So, Langan, who do you have?
Well, I did have the girl from Texas Chainsaw, and I had the girl from You're Next.
Okay, those are.
Jamie Lee is legend for
Yeah.
me, but so I'm gonna throw in. I'm not a humongous fan of Black Christmas, but I love Olivia Hussey, the actress. She's fine.
That the original or the remake?
I
The
just,
original.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
This, totally the original.
Yeah.
Even though I just watched the remake last night, because instead of going out to go see Racket Club in Brooklyn, I stayed in and wrote all these stupid questions.
Probably better off. I don't know the band at all, but
Yeah,
if you like them, I'm
yeah. It's ex Sam I Am and Knapsack, so definitely. But
I don't think Anthony's on neither of those album covers. So
No.
he's got no.
But I saw the remake to Black Christmas yesterday, and I just want to say that I thought that was a great one.
It was just on. I DVR'd it, so I didn't watch it. I might save it till Christmas and watch it.
It's just violent, and where the first, I'm going to bring us to. Actually, I'll talk about that in a second because I have a question that leads into that. So I'm going to ask Parker, who is your favorite final girl?
I got two. I got to go with Stretch from Texas Chainsaw 2.
Yes,
Nice.
Stretch.
Thought that she was awesome. And then I loved
Stretch.
Patricia Tallman, who played Barbara in the Night of the Living Dead remake. I thought that they totally fucking went
Another
like,
great remake.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
good.
There you go.
Underrated.
Yeah.
I thought that
Slept
they
on.
went total like badass. Like she's not like the basket case like she was in the original. Just like fucking like she goes after Cooper and like I loved it. I thought that she was great in that.
I got to see that one again. I haven't seen it in a long
so
time.
I
but
actually saw that in the theater.
I saw that before I saw the original.
I actually cut school. Sorry, Mom. To go see that with my
Your mom's listening.
Yeah, I
She
know.
subscribes.
Yeah, there you go. With my best friend, and I think it wasn't his father who took us, but somebody took us to Sunrise Mall, and then it was rated R. So we bought 3 tickets. The guy literally walked us into the theater, and then he left, and we stayed. And I remember just shitting my pants. I'm like, this is fucking scary. Because that was when Savini was definitely stepping up his game with the zombies and the effects and everything. And I love that remake, but I like her too with the final girl.
Anything to do with Savini is great. I mean, we don't even have to ask here CGI versus practical effects, right, Anthony?
I like practical, but now that CGI is getting better, it's not as bad. Depends on how you use it. Because I just watched Nightmare on Elm Street 3 yesterday, and the effects in that were all practical, and they were all so. Those movies are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I watched them, but the creativity,
gore and the creativity
and the humor, like all
in
the
3.
stuff they came up with, but all of them. But 3 was a big
3
one.
was
Like
definitely.
when that girl had the little mouths on her arms for the heroin needles, like
Oh yeah.
like just all the stuff
makes
they
you
came up with
cringe.
was so, it was just so creative. I remember watching a lot of makings of those movies back then, and it was all the real effects. Like, so I mean, but when you go practical effects, you could even go back earlier where they look like shit. So it's like there's a time like it depends on how well you do it.
Like in Black
Basket case.
Roses, when Big
wait a
Pussy
minute.
gets eaten by the speaker.
Now wait a minute. I love Black Roses.
but like Basket Case, like that's super cheesy. And like now today, obviously, it wouldn't look as like you could probably do a better version with CGI. So I think it depends on the movie and how much it can't look.
Yeah.
It can't look like it's a cartoon on the screen.
And you know what it is too, and I'll tell you this, like in the land of like free movies and free this and free, I'm gonna download this and I'm gonna like, it's just the budgets.
Yeah.
Everyone's thinking like, okay, CGI or spend extra money on these effects on a movie that we're hoping people go see.
And time and the
Yeah.
amount of time it probably takes to
It's
put all
definitely
that stuff
fun.
together.
I like when they incorporate. They do mostly regular effects, but pepper CGI
Right.
and maybe for a little extra blood or something like that,
yeah.
but not rely entirely
rely.
of
Exactly.
that.
I thought
only.
it did a
Yeah.
really good job of that.
Yeah.
I thought it did a really, really good job of that. So
Because those guys are artists
yeah,
in their own, Savini and Nicotero and
Oh,
stuff. You
those
gotta,
guys are just like-
that. Let them work their craft a little bit.
In Walking Dead, it's like there's so much killing where you kind of have to use.
They go back and forth.
They go back and forth. But what I thought they fucked up was when they killed, what's the guy's name? Herschel.
Yeah, okay.
Like they killed him right on camera, and like he was the main kill, and it was so CGI'd. I was like, man, that's where you should have went practical, and use the CGI when you're killing hundreds of zombies, so you don't have to do it. Like when you have a major kill like that on screen of a major character, have practical effects.
Yeah.
And because it just looked so bad, it looked so cheesy. It totally took away from the scene.
That's why, as a diehard Romero fan too, his later films in the Dead series.
That's all it
So
was.
bad.
It was terrible. The
That's
CGI
what it was, yeah.
used, and it really just it distracted me from it because I know what he
Yeah.
is capable. I know he had a lot of financing issues and had to
course.
shoot out of the country. I get that, but that's not what I go
Well-
to a Romero film for.
Like on YouTube, the Greg Nicotero documentary is called Nightmare Factory. It's like
That's a good one.
It's just like a movie on his company and like the effects, and man, I can't recommend it enough. It's so good. But going back to Final Girls, what I loved, I'm gonna, as far as like, I'm not gonna mention any Final Girls, but I'm gonna say that I think that
Why not?
because I'm going to say the movie The Final Girls really does a good job of it, and I liken it to, like, let's say the movie Scream, where I think it just like elevated, when something's self-aware, which those two movies are, it could be really corny, but I think Scream and The Final Girls are just two movies that like transcend that, and they're amazing. I can't recommend them enough. I'm sure a lot of people have seen Scream, but I still feel like a lot of people have not seen The Final Girls.
If you haven't seen The Final Girls, definitely go see it. Go rent it or
It's on
kids do it.
Redbox. I mean, it's anywhere
Everywhere.
now. Like
Yeah.
you can get it for
But
like,
there's to make sure distinguish the two. There's Final Girl.
yeah,
and there's The Final
that's on
Girls.
Netflix. Yeah, exactly. So this is the one with the, the mom and daughter and all, the one that mom and daughter. I guess the mom dies in the beginning. Blah
What's
blah
the
blah.
name? Mila Ackerman or something like that. She's in it.
Yes, the girl from
Watchmen.
yes, and also Arrested Development. Is she like the young girl?
No.
No, American Horror Story.
Oh no, that's you're thinking of Farmiga. Yeah, that's who's in it.
No, she was also in Harold and Kumar. She was the
Freaks.
freak's wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
But very good. I highly recommend it, and you guys should watch it. Let's see.
Blocking his answers over there.
Okay.
Everybody wants to win Dan Tur
That's
prizes.
why you wanted the pen before.
No,
To
I can't-
copy my shit.
All right. So real quick, we're gonna talk about subgenres real quick. What is your favorite subgenre? Like for me, I think nothing ever spoke to me more than slasher, which I will throw in with home invasion.
Now that you would call that subgenre because horror would be the genre.
Yes.
Yeah, slasher and like home invasion, that kind of stuff, where it's a little more real, where you're like a person's coming to get you, like that kind of stuff would be my favorite.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy zombies. I like reading zombie books more,
Yeah, of course.
but I'm gonna go with slasher.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So Langan.
It was zombies, but I'm off of that kind of now. I like anything.
Because I didn't have it on my paper.
That's right. I always like anything like post-apocalyptic involving that kind of world. The slasher, again, like Sam said, especially to get real subgenre on you, like 70s slashers set in New York.
So Maniac.
Anything set in New York from the 70s.
Maniac.
I'm definitely that was 80, I believe.
Was it?
But,
you son of a bitch.
I'm like Sam and you. I love old New York stuff.
Yeah,
So like
definitely.
anything old New York, I could watch all the time. But some of the 70s movies have a pacing where they're a little slow.
It's
And
just-
that's one reason why I think back to remakes, why remakes are good, because like you said, the younger generation can't deal with some of those that slow, that real slow pacing. Like but they put out like 2 years ago, they put Reservoir Dogs back in the theater for like the 25th anniversary. And a friend of mine from jiu-jitsu was like, I think he was 18 at the time, 19. They went to go see it, and he was like, they hated it.
Oh.
And I was like, you have to see it again and like pay attention. Like they were like talking through the whole movie, and I was like, they just didn't get, like they didn't sit and appreciate what it was and like listen to it.
It's
And
like dialogue, just dialogue.
It's a
You
play.
have
It's a
to
Tarantino
appreciate
movie. That's what it is.
It's a complete play.
Yeah.
yeah, But
So
That's why I think a lot of people didn't like Death Proof, because it's a Tarantino, so it's a lot of talking.
no, but I
whereas-
love Tarantino. I just
Yeah.
didn't think his dialogue was. I didn't think those girls pulled it off. But I like the scenes in it, and I
I
thought
think they
Caress
were
was
too
amazing.
long. Some of the scenes
A little bit.
with the girls, like it just went on and on.
yeah,
You know.
But that scene with when the car hit,
Oh.
and they showed each person,
yep,
that was
each
that
angle.
was great. That was so
great.
great.
definitely. Parker, do you have a favorite subgenre?
I gotta go heavy metal horror, man. I'm talking Black Roses. I'm talking Terror on Tour. I'm talking Kiss Meets the Phantom.
So 3 movies.
Whoa, those are just 3 right off the
How
bat.
many? How many other?
Death
We actually
rock and
Trick or
roll-
treat.
Death
Yeah,
Gas.
Trick or
Oh,
Treat.
you want to know how many? I got a 500-page book upstairs.
Oh,
Heavy metal
shit.
movies.
that he's actually Xeroxing right now.
For everyone listening,
Xeroxing. What year?
It's a
for everyone listening, just stay tuned towards the end of the show. He's going to read all 500.
yeah. It's a very interesting book, but I curse Mike McBeardo for writing it because I wrote down the titles and tried to watch them all, and a lot of them are like so bad.
I'm sure that they are.
I'd like write to him on Facebook. I'm like, dude,
What
why
was it?
did you just? Because anything that has a remote heavy metal reference.
What
in
was
it,
the one with
he'll put
Blackie
it.
Lawless again that I have?
Dungeon
Ghoulies
Master.
too?
Yeah,
I got-
Dungeon
I gotta
Master.
return that VHS. I got it upstairs.
Oh, you
I
borrowed it? That tells you how long
copied
it
I did when you said
copied.
you got to return it. You said VHS. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to return some videotapes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Patrick Bateman.
So I know Parker every Halloween pulls out the horror movie soundtracks.
Yes.
So what have you been listening to, or what do you like to listen to every Halloween?
Oh man, it's
What do
normally.
you drive Sarah crazy with?
It's,
Lucky
it's
lady.
bad. It's fucking bad.
What is she citing in the divorce?
Yeah. It's normally
Trauma.
it's normally Black Roses. That's always my lead off come October 1st.
What's the banger off that album?
Oh man.
Too many to count?
Yeah. Track wise, it's track 2. Then we go 4, 5, 6.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
For everyone
Titles?
listening, 2,
Yeah.
4, 5,
Yeah.
6.
2, 4, 5, 6.
It's got to be something like
typical
stand up.
CD listener.
Oh,
Stand up and run.
Yeah. You know what the banger is? It's the song by Lizzie Borden.
Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
said Lizzie Borden. And then I normally do Dawn of the Dead by Zombie, or by Goblin, I mean. And then Day of the Dead I do, and then Return of the Living Dead.
Okay.
Those are normally my 4.
Very cool. So, speaking of Halloween, which is basically what this episode's all about, we're gonna just ask, what are some movies, Anthony, that you feel like you need to watch every Halloween as kind of like a tradition?
A little cliche, but Halloween.
All right, you got to talk into that
A
thing.
little cliche, but Halloween, the original.
You can move it closer to you. the
And
mic.
Trick or Treat,
Okay.
the one from 2007.
That's a great one, right?
It's fucking phenomenal.
You got
It's
the
on my
Sam
wrist.
tattoo, yeah.
Boom. And not you, Sam.
Yeah.
You're next.
Your arm's too tiny for me.
Put you on my nose.
Yeah.
So if I can't always do it, but sometimes I just get busy and I don't get time to watch. But those are the 2 I try
Those
to
are the 2.
watch.
Okay. Langan, what are some movies that you need to watch every Halloween?
Dawn of the Dead is my favorite. There's only a couple like I break out every time. Trick or Treat, like you had mentioned.
What, the Michael Dougherty one?
The more recent one,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Night of the Demons, the original one.
Nice.
Yeah.
That takes place on Halloween night, I believe.
Yep.
Linnea Quigley, and but one thing I try to do every October is like get into something like I never delved into before. Like remember, like a year or 2 ago, I never really watched all the Universal monster movies,
Yeah.
so I rented them all, Blu-rays. Invisible Man, The Mummy, all the stuff, the Karloff, and everything, and watched all those. And this month, I'm watching all the Christopher Lee.
Hammers.
Most of the Hammer, mostly all the Dracula films he did,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to pick something I never really followed before and do that, and then I pull out a couple of favorites. That's usually my routine.
Cool. Parker?
I normally do the big 4, which is Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, so on, and then like
But I'm
what
saying,
Lee-
like-
Metallica,
Which
gotta
we-
mention them.
Yeah, we apologize.
I watch and listen to
apologize to
Saint
Metallica.
Anger.
I was waiting for someone to say Big 4.
We apologize to Metallica for not mentioning them on the episode 22. So
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I'll cut Lars's check back.
So basically something from like those 4 series.
Yeah, like normally the originals. So normally like the first Halloween, the first Nightmare on Elm Street. But then I also go back like what Langan was saying and watch try to watch 2 to 3 of the Universals.
Yeah.
Because there's just something like beautiful and original about them.
A few years ago, I did that, and black and white is a good time.
Oh yeah.
This is a good time of year to watch something in black and white. So
Yeah.
I remember doing that.
Yeah.
But the Hammer horror, that's what made me get Netflix when I first got Netflix, because I was like, I've never seen any of those Hammer movies, and the video stores were still around, but they didn't have them. And I was like, I don't want to fucking buy all these movies just to maybe watch once in case they suck. So I got Netflix. Yeah. And I actually like the Frankenstein ones way better than the Dracula one. Yeah. Because the Frankenstein ones, if you never saw the Hammer horror Frankenstein series,
Cushing as Dr. Frankenstein.
Because they're all about the doctor and not about the monster. Like the first one, they show the monster. The rest is him trying to recreate the monster. Like, there's such good stories. They're not scary in any way. No. But they're really cool.
And the colors.
Yeah.
So if you can watch them on Blu-ray, I mean, I didn't see the Blu-ray. They're amazing. I mean, I love that period. And shout out to Barbara Steele, who is one of the finest horror ladies in history.
Holla.
Yep.
For me specifically, of course, Halloween 1 and 2. I just needed is a 1-2 punch. Beetlejuice, huge.
Yes.
Beetlejuice is like a must because that movie still holds up, man. Mm-hmm. By the time you watch it and you get to that dinner scene and everyone's doing the calypso, like, it's just so good.
Yeah, man.
It's so goddamn good.
I just showed that to my nephew last week. He's 11, and he loved it. And I was watching it, and I'm like, man, this movie really holds up.
It's
fucking
so
great. It still looks great. Like it doesn't have like that dated atmosphere to it, like with the clothes, like just the style of it. Still,
the creatures
still holds
great.
up. The practical effects.
Yeah. I've been trying to get Aiden to watch Beetlejuice.
It's fantastic.
When are you gonna watch Beetlejuice with me, brother? He doesn't care.
Now
you're quiet.
You know? All right. And that movie needs a sequel too. Gotta throw that in.
And I'll say my last two, Creep Show, a must. The original Creep Show, and oddly, A Nightmare Before Christmas. I always need to watch it on.
I'm always confused if I should watch that in October.
I watched
December.
it both. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the concept of that story,
it's amazing.
It's so much fun, man. It's such a fun concept, and the execution is just like great. So those are mine right there.
I didn't see that when it came out, but I remember it. And I think it got pretty popular. So I kind of sometimes I'm my own worst enemy, where I kind of when too many people like something, I kind of push away from it. I'm just so punk rock.
Yeah,
you are punk.
And but then when I watched it in like 90,
you guys like it.
And I watched it in like 99, and I was like, this is the fucking best movie ever.
Yeah.
Like
you can get lost in the scenery in the background. It's so detailed and
it's so
perfect.
Good. And I'm not a big like musical person. I don't like a lot of singing and stuff. And that was
Danny Elfman though brought it home.
It's
Oingo
Dead Man's
Boingo.
Party.
Yeah.
Back to school.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so before we wrap it up here and we talk about the brackets, favorite horror movie sequels, Anthony?
Halloween 2, Friday 13th, Part 2.
Okay. Langan, favorite horror movie sequels?
Favorite horror movie sequels. I'm going to go Phantasm 2.
Oh, good one.
Now, sequels, we're just meaning Part 2.
No, I mean, whatever. It could be 18.
Probably Friday the 13th, Part 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parker?
I got to go Nightmare 3 and my all-time favorite, Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
Would you call that a sequel?
Yeah, I would.
Well,
so there.
Else call it a sequel?
In your face.
Because you could kind of see, like, in the opening scene, like, you know, like when Ramiro's working in, like, the news booth and everything, like...
Well, I mean, it's made by the same guy, but the one was 68, this was 78, so it's like... It's nothing carried over from, like... It's not like a zombie apocalypse happened the whole time.
But they don't really say that it's been that long, you know?
But one was black and white. One was,
I know.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I would consider those sequels because they're all standalone.
Well, if you want to laugh, the first time that I saw Day of the Dead, you know, I was just... I figured that, you know, the man and the woman that were in that were the same two people that flew away off of the mall. But
Makes
then
sense.
You know, but then they start talking. I'm like, these are two totally different freaking characters. But anyway.
Well, funny enough, because I'm going to go Day of the Dead.
There you go.
And I'm going to go Halloween too. So.
Nice.
Now we're going to talk real quick about what do you think are the most overrated and underrated?
Exorcist. Overrated.
Overrated.
Ooh. Shots fired.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go into it? Or just want to?
I don't give a shit. Go ahead.
Well,
This is the
atmospherically.
punk rock thing because everyone.
No,
likes
no.
it.
I watched it when I was younger, and I
Kid.
thought it was a little boring. And atmospherically, I think it's awesome. But when people say, because people still say, I can't watch it now, it's so scary. I'm like, there's nothing scary about that fucking movie. Like, even when I watched it when I was 14, I didn't think it was scary. And I like the music to
It's
it.
no Conjuring.
It's not The Conjuring. By actually, that scared me way more. And it's just better. Conjuring's way better. But no, I mean, it was cool, and it was shot well. It looks good, but it just... I think maybe because everyone... I got to watch it again. It's been a while. The last time I saw it was when they put it back in the theater for the 25th anniversary or whatever, with the extra scenes. And The Hills Have Eyes.
Okay.
Overrated.
Overrated.
The sequel or the original?
I like
Both.
that remake. That remake I loved.
I rented...
very good.
I rented the first two, like when I was 14 or 15.
The
and I was
second
like,
Hills of Eyes is
I
Oh,
didn't
that's
really-
bad.
horrific.
That's
I
brutal.
didn't really like it. And then when the remake came out in like 04, I bought it. And I was like, man, this is just like the original. I don't really
love
like
the
it at all.
mutant cannibal family
Yeah, that's
thing
cool,
going
but,
on.
eh.
And Michael Berryman. And I love part 2 because the dog
Like
has
Michael
flashbacks.
Berryman, I met him at Fangoria
Yeah.
Horrors.
I met him once too. He used to be a florist.
I got his autograph.
Has a weird disease. He has no fingernails and no sweat glands. And he said that shooting that movie in the desert was like torture because his sweat can't release like ours
boy.
does. So he almost like died.
Is that why,
Really?
is that why
Yeah.
he's so ugly?
That's what happened. He
Me
didn't get
and-
work again until smoking in the boys' room.
Weird science.
But yeah,
Okay.
but I was saying in part 2 of Hills of Eyes always stuck out to me because everybody has flashback sequences in it and it just shows scenes from like the first movie, and then the dog, you know how one of their dogs gets shot and the other one lives. The dog has flashback scenes. It's the only film. Watch it
in
again.
the original
They'll
sequel,
show the dog and go to like the hazy thing, and he's remembering the other. Yeah,
It's making
the
me wanna
part
watch it
2,
now,
you
actually.
I was like, what the fuck?
We're
It's
gonna pause the show and
insane.
watch
it's
it on
called
YouTube.
originality, my friend. It's
It's so
called
weird.
expanding your mind.
It's so bad.
So
but I do like the first one.
What do you have for underrated?
Well, that I looked up on the Google
Want to-
to see what because I couldn't think of anything offhand that I thought was underrated, but I was
I
surprised.
mean, you didn't have to answer.
No, I know, but I was curious.
Yeah.
Pled the fifth.
Yeah.
On
you
that
just
list,
stolen Langens.
I did. Trick or Treat was on there, the new one,
Yeah.
and The Descent
Yeah.
was. They said it was underrated, and I thought those fucking movies were great.
I don't
The
think that
Descent was-
underrated. Do you?
I don't. I looked
I
it
think
up.
it was just right amount of rating.
Right, well,
think it
like
was
it-
a lot of-
Dead Snow was on that list,
Dead Snow's a great movie.
That's a good one.
and
Good.
Would You Rather
series.
was on there. As Above, So Below, I thought was pretty fucking good. Your Next was on there as underrated. I don't agree. I thought that was fucking great.
I don't think. Yeah.
Eden Lake was one.
Eden Lake is
I thought
fucking
That's
amazing.
was awesome.
amazing. Yeah,
Totally awesome.
Good
Yeah.
one. That's a good one.
1408 was on that list.
That was
It was pretty
I
cool.
love
but-
that movie because it drove me crazy.
Yeah.
And that's another one of those where it's like to put yourself in that position to be somewhere that you can't get out of no
Yeah.
matter how hard you try. That's maddening.
Hmm.
That's scary. Like you're in a room and you're like, no matter what you do, you're just stuck here for eternity.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I thought that was better than the story. I read the story after, and I liked the movie better than the story.
Yeah.
Langan,
Langan,
wanna
what do you
steal
got?
my list?
No, I don't. Please. Overrated. Zombieland. That's right. Zombieland.
Oh,
Fuck that
shit,
movie.
he's throwing down.
Damn.
Holy shit.
I don't get the love for that movie at all.
Yeah, because you hate fun.
No, I do hate fun, but it was so the tongue was so hard, firmly in cheek. The wink, wink, of like the stereotypical zombie, and it's supposed to be like that, but it was just obvious to me, and I couldn't stand it until Bill Murray came in. I don't like it. What am I
They
gonna say?
said he was supposed to be the first person. They wanted somebody else, but they won't tell you who. I wonder who that person
really?
is.
Who do you have above Bill Murray?
Yeah, really.
Like Bill Murray's
You
your
can
number
land
2?
him.
Maybe his brother.
Dan
One of
Murray.
I also
Well, for moving
have
violations.
Scream.
Maybe Michael Berry.
Don't-
Overrated?
yeah.
Wow. You really just like,
Not a fan. Not a
'Cause
fan.
you're so metal. You cut 2 inches off your hair.
I'm so metal. You're so punk. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't bad, but people. I guess it was another generation's horror franchise. Maybe it got a lot of love, but it didn't grab me the same way as everyone else. I thought, and a lot of the characters are annoying, and Jamie Kennedy's just awful. But anyway, Child's Play again.
I'm not upset with that.
I'm just throwing them all down. Cabin in the Woods.
wow.
Those are
Loved
my
it.
4.
Oh, I loved
went
it.
for the gut.
Yeah.
See,
And again, look, to each their own. Apparently, a lot of people loved it.
I feel like you're just
didn't work
smacking
to
shit
me.
out of people's hands right now. Like you're walking through the hallway, like
That's like
yo, let
Knocking
me
their
s-
textbooks
yeah.
down.
Like let me see that DVD. Whack.
You like that
these are your favorites?
It's like
These are
cousin
my
Mike's
toilet
favorite
paper.
movie. I
Go
don't think
get
he's
it
listening
then.
anymore.
And I throw it
Cabin in the
across
Woods.
hallway.
I saw that in the theater.
I saw it. I rented it, but everyone was raving about it. How it was the greatest movie ever, and I was like, "How's this horror movie going to be good?" And I went in it in a different way, so I was like, "What the fuck was everyone talking about?" Because I think I was expecting horror, and not like kind of almost not a parody, but like
You know
it was
what?
like making fun of itself. So I don't think I went at it with the right mindset. I didn't know what it was going to be about. I thought it was going to be straight horror.
Right.
And I'm watching it. I'm like, man, everyone's raving about this movie. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, it's original. But I was like, wasn't that great? But I think it was more my mindset, maybe. So I'm not, I don't disagree with you.
I see the theme here, though, and it's like I'm at the psychiatrist's office. I had a breakthrough, what they call it. All the films tried to have this humor edge to it, and I didn't find the humor that clever or funny.
Yeah.
He's got to be the funniest guy in the room, apparently.
Yeah.
I do. I get jealous. But I guess the humor parts didn't work for me in it,
I get that.
I guess.
So what do you have for underrated?
Tourist Trap. I love that movie. It's a slasher, 80s. I
That's
never saw it back in the day. Don't. I'm not even trying to say like I championed this movie from get go. I slept on it too, and I saw it.
I
and I was
slept
like,
on it.
wow, this is amazing. How did I not know about this? Society.
Which I just saw this year.
I gotta
and
see that.
loved it.
It's so good.
And that guy does great movies. Brian Usna.
Yes, yeah.
He did The Dentist.
It's not. I get up. It's one of those movies where someone hasn't seen it, and it like bothers me. Like, please go see this movie.
Go see this movie.
Yeah, rent it.
Yeah.
And Planet Terror, I think, doesn't
Yeah.
get all the love it deserves because
Yeah.
it's just lumped in as the whole Grindhouse thing. But I think it stands alone.
It's very standalone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great one.
So
I love when it's on cable by itself.
yeah,
So I watch it. Unrated, too.
no doubt.
Parker, what do you have for overrated?
Overrated, I have The Ring. That's the only one that I could think of right off the bat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't get it. Just didn't get it.
Trash. Your PayPal is trash.
And then underrated, I keep going back to a movie that you told me was Green Room.
Oh, I thought that was great.
I thought that should have been so much bigger than it was.
You watched it, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A couple months ago, and I loved it.
That was kind of polarizing, too,
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It was.
It got a lot more, it got more praise than hate, but it did have a pretty good amount of hate,
Man,
especially in the group.
But and once again, talking about the evil that men do, and playing in bands, like, you know, I'm not saying that we've ever played a white supremacist show, but I mean, like, you know, if you play enough shows, you do see weird shit. And like to end up in a room like that, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is weird.
We actually played a club in Florida that when we left, we found out that it was a
Oh, yeah.
white supremacist bar. It was Club Q in Sarasota, Florida.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
Where-
And I'm
Torches
glad.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm glad the
Probably
Cave
flourishing these
canceled
days.
because we wouldn't have even played. So there you go.
I think going back to what you said before about the movies, I think it was Trick or Treat that you were like, Skippy played such a terrible metalhead, and it
Yeah.
was like you couldn't wait for that. I think they did such a good job in Green Room with
Yes.
how a band goes and like the whole setup.
yeah.
They definitely did a great job. And I think that kind of was like, oh, they finally got it right. Because
They were believable
It's-
as a band in that genre.
I mean,
to me.
as a
the
you know, a
violence.
hardcore kid or a metalhead or whatever, when you see anyone who isn't that playing that part, it's hard to like separate it because maybe from Arrested Development was in that band, so it's like it's maybe, but they still pulled it off. They did such a good job, so it's like that was like a good like man. Finally, they fucking nailed like a part of a music scene that we know and we could say they got it right.
yeah.
The one
Shout out to Deathgasm too. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh, that
mention
was
that at all. And
Good one.
So good.
the one knock that I will give Green Room is like after all that tense stuff ended and they left the room, it almost turned into like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie because like everyone.
Awesome.
Like every. Well, yeah, I mean,
amazing.
Collateral damage.
I'm just saying, like, it was almost like a little bit like, you know, that like at that point it's like open season. I'm like, you got everyone, like you couldn't just escape. So
Gotcha. I see.
but all right, so for me, I'm going to do underrated first. So I'm going to say The Dead, which was
So
that
good.
Oh, you
zombie
told me
movie.
about that. I watched it. That was good.
Yes,
So good.
God damn, that was just like one of the best zombie movies ever. Very bleak for fans of Day of the Dead. And then a movie called Triangle.
Oh, you talking about that all the time. I got to
Triangle.
see that.
You
still.
championed that movie and got me to see it, and it was great.
How great is that?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I
was
can't
awesome.
get into what it is because of the whole plot, and I can't give it away. But it's, you know, Melissa George, I guess the guy who did Severance directed it, and they are on a boat. And that's the movie you should watch because I think there's a different one. So now for most overrated, I'm going to say Child's Play.
Preach.
Let me tell you, I can't comprehend. I saw the first three, you know, because like the first one came out and then 2 and 3 came out fairly
Pretty close. Yeah.
close to each other. And I just tapped out at the third.
It's a doll.
Yeah, I'm like, I tapped out. And then
Come on.
I see
The
that
doll can't overpower you.
they have Bride of Chucky, Cult of Chucky.
She's
She's so hot
Seed
though.
of
Jennifer
Chuck.
Tilly. Shout out.
Is that her last name? I thought it was Titty.
Nah.
Oh,
Hey,
scandalous.
I remember talking to Frank Mullen from Suffocation
Yeah.
before we did the show, and we were talking about that. And he's like, I don't get that fucking doll.
doll.
Throw it in the fucking wood chipper or
Yeah.
whatever. And I was like, I know.
He should be calling in
He's
with
got
his
a
movie
knife like
reviews.
this big, you know. How
John-
can he overpower you?
John
I
Berg.
always thought that too. I was like, how do you get? It's a
off
doll.
of me.
Like,
John-
there's no bones.
John Berg hit me up, like, you know, on the thread about, he's like, well, you know, after we did the brackets and all 64 movies came out, he's like, where the hell is Child's Play? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah. Listen, I did like those movies when I saw them, but
I can't
when you're
add
going
them.
to 64 movies,
Yeah.
there's so many other fucking movies. That
No.
you,
Oh, come on, yeah.
So,
Get that.
okay, so that leads us into the brackets that I was talking about. For the people that may not know, we have a Facebook group, not the like page, because the like page is whack. It's an actual Facebook group, but it has about like 550 people on it right now. So you should join it if you don't know anything about it. I still see people hitting up the like page, which is annoying because I'm not friends with them, so I can't add them to the regular.
can you put a note on that thing?
I
Go
do,
to
but
the-
it's still like the thing with like pages is like not everyone sees anything all the time, but whatever. They'll get there eventually.
It's just a bunch of people selling sunglasses and cheap prices and shit. Bad
Give you some
memes.
sunglasses.
Totally. That's that old people shit. There's like 3 pictures of the same angle and like 2 sunglasses that they got hacked that they
Yeah,
just
that's
kept
it.
up on their pictures. So.
That's it.
So anyway, for the people that may not know, we decided to do the 64 best horror movies, and we made brackets out of them. So now we're up to round 3. Okay, so now I'm going to go around the room, and I'm going to talk about these lists here. So let me just pull it up. Where the hell is
While
it?
you're looking for that, are we going to go back to the list that you sent us, the chicken scratch list that you sent us? We're going to
Nah.
go back to some of those?
No, why?
I don't know.
No.
Well, I like I like one of the categories.
Which is what?
Just the
You want to talk into the mic?
the scenes that were like we call them squeamish. It was question 22.
Okay. I mean, do you want...
Question 22. test.
You were like, well, the question was horrible movies, bad, crazy scenes or whatever.
A good scene in a bad movie.
Well, this technically wasn't a bad movie, but that scene in Saw, I think it was 2, when that girl jumps into that
Hypodermic
fucking-
needles?
Yeah, that with the needles, and that scene fucked me up pretty
Yeah.
bad. And the Antichrist, when
Oh,
she
Absolutely.
when she cuts her clit off,
Yeah.
that actually fucked me up pretty bad. Like it really, really disturbed me, like beyond anything I can remember. It disturbed me.
That movie, Antichrist, is fucking brutal.
That's
another one
I
that...
hated that movie.
It was a little
Did you
too
hate-
artsy
Yeah, I just.
and like, ooh, but that's, I mean, that scene.
It's Lars von Trier, right?
Yeah.
I'm not that smart. That scene
He's a
when
Metallica,
she
right?
cuts her
He's an
clit off bothered me
drummer.
more than when she hit that guy in the dick
Yeah.
with the fucking log.
And she's actually getting like banged in the beginning.
I think it's real, yeah.
Well, she's actually in a movie
It
called
is.
Nymphomaniac. So,
Literal.
she's in a movie called Nymphomaniac where she's getting double penetrated by two black guys with penises.
It's a porno or
The size of this, like, I mean, it's just like
Requiem of a Dream.
a baby arm.
Is it just like a real movie? Like
It's a real movie, but there's actual sex in it, and that girl Charlotte Gainsbourg is, getting slammed. I think she's actually in one of the movies that I'm.
because that scene in Antichrist when they having sex, that's real, right?
That's real,
Yes.
and so is the scene I'm talking about. It's double penetration right there. Like,
Wow.
I was like, holy shit.
Is the movie good?
I mean, I only saw that part because
So-
that's what I fast
That's the
forwarded
part I
to.
really need to see. Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Skin.
I mean, she looks like a young Hedda Nussbaum. You know what I'm saying?
Why I'm drawing a blank on that.
That was that
Yeah.
satanic case in the 80s.
Joel Steinberg.
Joel Steinberg with the...
Yeah, you might want to get your Googles up on that one. So.
Wow. Had a Nussbaum reference.
Yeah. Well, that's what she looks like. She looks
Boom.
like, yeah.
That was great.
So, all right, but we're gonna talk brackets now.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So round 3. All right, the first match is Halloween versus The Shining.
Halloween,
You have Halloween.
by far.
I'm gonna lean Shining,
You gonna?
and I'm going by the test of two things are on TV. I got 2 hours to kill. I'm picking it.
I'm just laughing because we're gonna need your son as a tiebreaker if it gets there. So, Parker, Halloween.
I got to do Halloween.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna write that down. Actually, you want to write that down for me? Just to write down Halloween.
Okay.
Number 2, we have Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors versus Evil Dead 2.
9 Elm Street 3.
Really? Over Evil Dead 2?
I'm not a huge Evil Dead fan.
Oh
Jesus
my God.
Christ.
Get
But
the
that's
hell
more-
out of my house.
Nah.
All right,
That was more of a timing thing for me.
who do you have, Langan?
Evil Dead.
Same. Parker?
I think we got to go for tiebreaker. I'm going Nightmare on Elm Street.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
I love Evil Dead 2, but there's something special about Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
So much better. So much funnier. Just so much.
It's
just
all about
better.
docking to you guys.
Fuck
Yeah.
Dockin. That shit was so weak.
George, don't disparage George Lynch in these 4 walls.
I don't even know who that is.
All right.
God
so
in
His
this
name's not,
house.
his name's not Dockin.
I'm,
I got his picture
Don
hanging up
Dokken.
on the
No,
wall.
the
Like,
singer's Don
I got his
Dokken.
picture hanging on the wall like Kim Jong Un. He's my divine leader.
All right.
George Lynch.
As a tiebreaker and mediator, I'm just gonna put down Evil Dead 2 because that's what's gonna.
Because you're
win.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make me angry.
All right. Number 3, Return of the Living Dead versus Creepshow.
Turn Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah, same. Return of the Living Dead. Okay, number 4, we have Killer Clowns from Outer Space versus Gremlins.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go Gremlins.
Yeah.
It's timeless.
Gremlins.
I can't believe Killer Clowns made it that far.
I know.
I mean, it's good, but like we're
I don't-
talking about some of the greatest horror movies ever.
But it holds up. I just watched
I
it.
just
No,
watched it
no,
recently with
you
my
know,
nephew.
we're splitting hairs because all these films are good. It's just
Yeah.
that we're talking about Evil Dead, Halloween, and then Killer Clowns got in the mix.
You know, it's all in the matchup. So, okay, so
Yes.
we got Gremlins in there too.
Yeah.
'Cause Gremlins is just like you could watch the
It's
shit
a well
out of
done
that.
movie.
I just watched it with my nephew because he's a little too young to get.
Yeah.
But he loved it, and it's like it was a perfect movie for him to
Yeah.
watch, and it's still like it's darker than you think.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
it's
So dark.
It's funny.
But it's
I
funny,
watched
like,
it
you don't
with him. I watched it with my son when he was like 5 or 6. Watched it around Christmas time because that's a
How old is he
Christmas flick.
now?
7.
Oh.
And he,
Recently.
yeah, it was probably when he's 5 at Christmas time, and he loved it.
Good, good.
It was funny, and you know there are a little couple parts maybe.
It's
that might-
funny as hell. There's a hell of a body count in it if
Yeah.
you think about
There
it.
is hell
There
of a
is.
You
body.
know, and I watched it.
Phoebe
I
Cates
watched-
jumps out of a pool.
She jumps out of a pool.
So hot.
There's only one Phoebe Cates pool scene.
So like I haven't seen it in a long time. I used to watch it all the time when I was younger. Then I went to see it like 2 years ago at Nighthawk. Shout out. And
Swear
and
you
I was
lived
like, man, this
Frequent
movie's
flyer
fucking.
miles.
I was like, man, this movie's really dark. Like when she said, most people are opening up their gifts, but some people open up their wrists. I was like, man, I never realized the weight of that line when I was young. It probably just blew right past me.
How did Neglect never sample that? That would
right? That's a good idea.
Wow, Reunion,
That
2018 album.
Gremlins and Temple of Doom is what made movies go PG-13. That's when those were both PG movies, and then after that is when PG-13 came out because of those two movies.
Fun fact.
Nice.
Is that a fun fact? For
Yes.
Yeah. Look at you.
He didn't even have to go to
But I
Google.
got that because when I was talking about it on the group, someone told me that, and I looked it up, and that's.
You looked up a whole bunch of interesting shit.
This was a
to
while ago,
say
though. This
today-
was irrelevant.
afternoon.
This was before this.
All right, so we have the fifth match: Hellraiser versus the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
This is like Sophie's Choice.
It's tough.
I'm gonna say.
Well, the other movie won't be destroyed or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know that's how people
it's
get.
getting banished.
I'm gonna say Nightmare because you have to sleep, and that was like
Yeah,
that really got you. I'm gonna say Nightmare.
Langan, who do you have?
That is a tough one. I'm gonna go Hellraiser. Just that group of characters was so creative.
Yeah,
and again,
totally.
like the stark lines that Pinhead have about torture and this and that. It just
Let's not
it's so
forget
original.
Jesus wept
Yes.
before his face like got torn apart.
Yes, very original.
I'm going Nightmare.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, if I'm gonna be honest with myself, I'm gonna go Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
So number 6, Texas Chainsaw Massacre versus Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Chainsaw.
Chainsaw.
I'm gonna go Henry.
You're gonna go home.
Right. Good. I drove you here. So, all right. Number 7, Martyrs versus Dawn of the Dead.
I only saw Martyrs once, and it was pretty amazing. But I'm gonna go Dawn.
Dawn.
Martyrs.
Of course. Punk rock too.
I'll tell you this.
Such a contrarian.
Because at the end of the day,
What's that mean?
I don't know.
at the end of the day, Martyrs is the best horror movie I've seen of the last 17 years.
Better
Yeah,
than,
but Dawn
better
is the
than
last
Inside.
30 years. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Inside's number
I
2.
thought you- Oh, okay.
Inside's number 2. I Saw the Devil's number 3. Triangle's number 4. Wow. Okay, and then the last one, number 8, Jaws versus The Thing.
Man, that's amazing. But Jaws.
The Thing.
Jaws.
Wow, The Thing. Definitely. All right, throw down The Thing because, I mean, we have to. We don't have a tiebreaker, so it's projected. How's that?
So wait.
I
which
feel like
one?
The Thing is going to beat Jaws.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
what-
tough one, man. The Thing is amazing.
Yeah.
But Jaws is.
Jaws is like
It's just
childhood,
so-
like.
I think The Thing will
I
take
always
it
said
on the
I
group.
could see that, but the group sucks.
You
But
hear it here.
For a long time, I always said Jaws is one of the scariest movies ever made because that's like that makes you not want to go to the fucking beach
Or the pool.
or
Yeah.
the pool or the tub.
You must have been filthy.
I used to shower. I wouldn't bathe. I would have to shower.
You weren't afraid of little sharks
Maybe
coming
a
out of
little
the
shark,
faucet?
But like,
Baby sharks.
I mean, you can't go in the ocean without thinking of Jaws. I'll go every time it snows. I don't think of the Thing.
You know what the thing is with Jaws? Like, I hate the beach.
Yeah.
I don't really like
You're
swimming.
so-
So you know what?
Because you
I'm
can't
good.
wear black jeans and the long sleeves.
Exactly. So Jaws ain't getting me.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever hear of a pool? Swimming pool?
He doesn't have feet. How's he getting in the pool? Come on.
All right,
The
so
filter system?
let's do a projected round 4. We have Halloween versus Evil Dead.
Halloween.
Evil Dead.
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween. All right, so Halloween, let's see. The second matchup would be Return of the Living Dead versus Gremlins.
Oh man.
One gets banished forever.
Gremlins.
Return of the Living Dead.
Return.
I'm going to go Return. Yeah. Next matchup is...
Wait. Was Linnea Quigley naked in Gremlins?
Who?
Linnea Quigley, was she naked in Gremlins? 'Cause I'm not-
No.
If they would have cast her in it, she would have been.
I know.
That is true. She was waiting. Okay, so Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, versus Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Holy shit. Chainsaw, but man, that's not easy.
Chainsaw.
I don't even know. Nightmare. I'm gonna have to do because I saw that first. I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Chainsaw because like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just like watching a documentary.
It is. It's really.
It's pretty
It does feel like
horrifying.
it's happening. When I first saw that, I was like, that was one of the first horror movies I saw where the guy was running after the person.
Yep.
Like, because all the Jasons I saw, Friday the 13th, were the later ones where he just kind of stalked you, and the Michael Myers was always stalking, and this guy was running, and I was like, holy fuck! I Terminator walked
With a fucking chainsaw.
and he was
remember?
running, and I was like,
That's good.
oh, they don't
cardio.
usually run. And I was like, man,
Heavy set fellow too.
and he was heavy.
Gunnar Hansen.
Talked about it in the book. We should read the book.
So, okay, Dawn of the Dead versus The Thing.
Damn. Dawn.
Dawn.
The Thing. All right. So
But these are like
what's our
these topics. I'm like,
We would be
either way. I'm happy.
down to, if I have this right, Halloween versus Return of the Living Dead.
Oh.
so there's 2 matches left, right?
Right.
Halloween versus Return of the Living Dead. That's basically my 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say Halloween because it's been more of my staple for so long.
There's no wrong answers here, kids.
I know.
They're all winners. We're all
They're all
superstars.
We're all superstars.
Please, someone in America, give me a chance.
Please, somebody in America.
Oh, man.
I'm real.
Slight edge Halloween.
I'm gonna go Halloween.
Halloween.
Wow, I'm impressed, Sam.
So what's the last matchup?
That'd be Texas Chainsaw Massacre versus Dawn of the Dead.
Chainsaw.
This is what yours was the last one. This is a 1 and 2 thing for me too. Chainsaw.
Dawn.
I'm gonna go Chainsaw.
So it's gonna be Chainsaw Halloween.
Well, this is our
I mean, for what?
Yeah, projected. Yeah.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
the
All right, so
5-star lock of the week.
We are doing the projected winner here between the 4 of us because this is what 4 people like us do. We
Friday night.
We mull over things that are completely insignificant in life, like this. We're comparing movies.
I've been doing this I've been doing that on weekends my whole life. I think makes me want to watch them all.
Yeah,
tonight.
Yeah, all 64 at once.
Yeah,
it was very hard to pick, and yes, we left out Child's Play because it's terrible.
Yes, that sucks.
Yeah,
and if you think it doesn't suck, you're wrong.
Yeah,
what I want to know is why do you 2 fucking guys keep looking at me every time I say Child's Play?
Well, because you're the only one in here who would read anything, so.
It's true. You're going to have a red ass
Yeah.
in a minute.
Totally.
Would you rather be compared to Chucky or the problem child kid?
Same. What's the difference?
Or the kid from
Terminator 2.
Yeah, Danny Cooksey.
Sam from fucking
He was in a
Seven Strokes.
Bad for Good.
Bad for Good.
Classic.
Okay, so the last matchup that we have will be Texas Chainsaw Massacre versus Halloween. That's the projected final. Knowing the group, this is probably not. It's probably going to be like Gremlins versus like
Killer Clowns.
So
Versus the Cure head on the door.
yeah. So this is for all the marbles.
These are my top 2. Like these are my top 2 horror.
You know, yeah. If you really break it down, all right.
Man, this is fucking tough.
The 1978 classic Halloween or the 1974 Tobe Hooper Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's not a classic.
Of course it's
You didn't
classic.
say it though.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
He's dead.
Fuck,
He's not
man,
listening.
This is tough.
I only have to breast John Carpenter at this point.
I'm gonna say Halloween. That's not easy.
Langan.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm gonna go Halloween.
I'm going to go Halloween.
Because it's Halloween.
Yeah, because it just, I guess it works
So
out.
we tied it up.
But it's the, no.
No, we all said
I
Halloween.
thought you were. Oh,
3-1.
I thought you said Texas. Okay.
So,
I'm the odd man out.
You're the odd man out. It just.
I'm right though.
If we did this in July, I probably would have said.
Nah,
fucking
listen. I
Chainsaw.
mean,
you can't really. go
Texas
wrong with
Chainsaw Massacre versus Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully it does come down to that. But I feel like the Thing is going to take
I think
it.
the Thing is going to go pretty far.
some
I don't remember what's
wrong,
left.
big, massive wrong choice will be made by the masses.
So
Yeah, I
everything
just
that was
don't
on that
know
list
which
is what's
one.
left for round 3.
Yes. So.
Killer Clowns taking it
I'm
all.
trying to.
And I like that movie. Don't get me wrong. It's just, come on.
Top 16. Yeah. So anyway, this has been fun. Real quick, I just want to close out with
Trivia?
oh yeah, the trivia thing. But before I do that, I just want to say there's 5 movies that I'm really looking forward to. So I'm going to mention them. There's one called Tragedy Girls, which comes out today, actually. It's about these 2 girls that are like wannabe serial killers. So they kidnap an actual serial killer, and they make him, like, I guess, teach them how to kill people.
It's an awesome premise.
So
It
it
sounds
seems
good.
I'm into it.
It's at Planet Nighthawk.
The other one is called Mayhem with Stephen Young, I think, from The Walking Dead.
Okay.
A.K.A. Glenn. You remember him with the eye popping
Rest in
out?
peace.
Rest in peace.
Best scene that he was in on
Yeah.
that show was with his eye.
You love that
hanging out.
show. How come that wasn't your most overrated?
That show.
'Cause it's
Well,
not a
'cause it's a
movie.
TV show, but
Yeah.
that show sucks.
I like it.
So anyway, the thing with Mayhem, which is interesting, to me, it's just like the Belko experiment, because it's these people who are infected by some kind of virus, and they're in a law office, and it makes them violent towards each other. So I guess they're quarantined, I think, in this building, and I guess they just end up killing each other. Number 3 is a movie called The Babysitter, which is on Netflix now. It was
It's a movie?
Yeah, it's directed by
gotta
this
see that.
dude Mick G, who used to do like old music videos.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
By like
yeah.
Korn, and
Yep.
I think he does Supernatural. I feel like he might. He's been doing stuff forever. This is just about a young kid and a babysitter, and she seems to be a very evil person. But Ken Marino's in it, like from the state, and
Yeah.
it seems to be like a bit of a horror comedy.
Okay.
Number 4 is Jigsaw. Jigsaw is the Saw, just basically coming back. So anyway, the 5th one is American Satan, which is like a metal horror movie. Hopefully it doesn't suck. The kid who did it, his name is Ash Avildsen, who is the son of John Avildsen, who just had a documentary made about him. So he's the director of Rocky and The Karate Kid, and a bunch of other movies. So this kid actually, the kid Ash, who made the movie, the son of John, has a record label called Sumerian Records. So I know, I think Christian knows him and stuff like that. So he's very much involved into like the hardcore and metal scene. So hopefully this movie will be cool.
Nice.
Now we're going to do. We're all going to ask one trivia question. So whoever gets these 4 answers and posts these answers on the thread that I'm going to post, obviously, for the show, which should be up on the 30th, but to you, it doesn't really matter. This is yours. Why am I reading that? So we're all going to ask one trivia question, okay? And 4 answers gets you a $40 voucher from Dan Tur's company called Inked Up Merch. So you can, get horror swag, whether it be T-shirts or beanies or whatever. So, Anthony, give your trivia question.
2-part question.
Already,
There's a quote in the beginning of Nightmare on Elm Street 3. What's the quote, and who's it by?
Okay,
That's a good one.
Good one.
So, Langan, what is your trivia question?
I have, what name did the residents of Crystal Lake change the camp's name to in part 6?
Okay, very good.
Nice.
Parker?
I have 2, but I'll give the easier of the 2. What was George Romero's first production company called?
Okay.
That's
My
insanely hard.
My question is, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, what was the name of the radio station?
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I had 2 other questions about that.
Yeah, we only need 4. Relax.
I know. I am sorry I did research.
It's not a
you
game
fucking-
show, bro.
Once again, thank you to our guest Anthony for coming here
Yeah,
and,
man,
and
thanks.
wasting 2 hours of his life.
This wasn't wasting me. I had a blast. Thank you guys.
Cool.
Rehashing movies that we've been watching for the last 800 years. Thanks, Langan.
Very special.
Langan for the table.
Yeah.
I know you want to have your son say some words.
My son, he's been pretty good. Been very quiet. All right. He just wants to chime in. I'm going to give him the mic for a second. He wants to say his least favorite character in some of the films we're talking about.
How I did. Spunk. Spunk and the person and the girl from Happy Death Day, like I said.
Okay,
The
Spunk.
girl from Spunk from the Goonies. Chunk, because he lives in a cave that smells bad. And you want to sign us off, buddy?
Thanks for listening. Good night. Check us out on SoundCloud and iTunes, I guess.
That's it.
All right, cool. Later.